I often wish I was from somewhere inoffensive to anyone, neutral, unproblematic, like, hi, I'm Finnish. But I know that Israel, the place and its stories, engages me like nothing else. It has made me understand that so many conflicting things can be true at the same time. Like, how do you write in Here I Am, another first, your first novel in a decade, to be and not to be? Because I've primarily lived outside of Israel, hearing, reading, and thinking about it from afar. It is also the place I've most imagined in my life. A movie in Hebrew, a period piece in which I also act, was clearly not the easiest first film to make, but it was my film to make. More later, I'm night shooting. It's 3:30 in the morning and the sun rises at 4:50 here in England, when it rises at all. Hang on. I have things to say about this.
Okay.
Yeah, hit me.
So, I haven't seen this movie that they're talking about, but, like...
I don't think anybody has. This is the only instance I've heard of it.
Way to go, Natalie. I wonder how, like, the Palestinians are portrayed in this movie, if at all.
That's what I'm thinking of, too.
You know?
Yeah.
Because the way that she's talking about the building of a utopian community is pretty, like, colonialist.
But
yeah, I'm really, really curious of what like the like reception of this movie was.
I bet it's probably just making John Fan stroke it harder, though.
Yeah. So it looks like these aren't like it looks like they knew that this was going to be published in the New York Times when they were writing these emails. This isn't like a candid, like, oh.
Yeah, these are not the emails that are like, I think that you should leave your husband and I'll leave my wife and we will be together. These are not the emails.
Fuck. Yeah, I mean, I was getting that feeling too, obviously.
Yeah, so...
Although
at the very, very bottom, in 2002, there's one.
At the bottom of the...
Unless it's a typo, it says on Friday, June 7th, 2002. That might be a typo.
That's got to be a typo. But what a
weird
typo.
No. He says...
Yeah.
I was able to dig up a few things, including the email that began our long friendship from all the way back in 2002. So in 2002...
It's just that one email.
It was so good to meet you after the reading the other day. I loved what you said about the last line of the book ending in the middle of a sentence, that it was a dialogue with the reader and what our reader feels. Yeah, so they're basically they're like reclaiming their weird, like, you should leave your wife shit by being like, no, here's normal emails.
Yeah.
See, we're normal.
Okay, I'm looking at another one.
That's so misleading.
This is an article, No Jonathan Foer and Natalie Portman, That's Not How Email Works. And they were talking about the article, and they said, why the weird insistence that their old emails were deleted.
Yeah.
And then there's Portman supposedly erased email from 2002, back from the dead and appearing in a legacy media outlet. What the fuck? So I guess that's probably the ones he was talking about that are all disappeared or whatever.
Yeah.
Damn. What a bummer.
Like Hillary Clinton's emails.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Where's Benghazi? Or we can call this the Benghazi Strip.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
I said Benghazi Strip emails.
Oh, jeez. Although now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably not that nice to, like, read somebody's leaked emails on a podcast.
Fuck him.
For both of our listeners to hear.
But yeah.
It's like we need to hack their hard drive. You know that Jonathan Safran Foer still has them shits.
Oh yeah. And
he draws the curtains and shuts the lights off and sits in his den by himself.
And on his other monitor, he pulls up pictures of Hunter Biden's penis.
What?
I'm just going down the right wing conspiracy email pipeline. Okay.
Incredible work, team.
We could scrap something from that. I think, you know what? What a way to start episode 100. I think with a fail.
We've learned nothing.
ThereWillBeDuds, the name of the podcast, was actually referring to this episode.
That is a risk that you are taking by listening to this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
There's gonna be a dud. You don't know when it's gonna happen or how, but it'll sneak up on you. Sometimes it'll hit you right off the bat.
Okay, well, speaking of duds, the name of this podcast is ThereWillBeDuds.
Yeah.
And this is episode damn it. I always like it's episode 100. I always like think of doing.
You forgot what number we were on.
No, I was like trying to think of something like little funny to there, and then I hesitate, and then I just goes out. So it's episode 100. Whatever.
Centennial.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's ennial means year. 100 years.
Cent episode.
The centenary.
The human centennial. The human centennial?
Yeah.
The human
I think.
centennial.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Is that in the cup?
The human centennial sounds like an AI generated Ed Wood movie.
Yeah.
Like if you were to tell ChatGPT to like write a movie in the style, write the human centipede, but in the style of Ed Wood.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, I want to write that now. That sounds.
Yeah, looking for something to start the podcast with.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We should have had ChatGPT just make up some emails for us, and then we could have we would claim that we dug up the emails.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm your co-host TJ,
yes,
aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always,
I am Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me as always,
I am Tommy, aka Moose.
And as always, we watched at least one movie. That's as always. But not as always, we watched more than one movie. This time we watched 3 movies. Mm-hmm. We did a little Ed Woodathon. And so we're going to talk about those. I figure we go in just chronological order. So
okay.
Chronological order.
Yeah. So
okay.
You know, we had
in which I watched the movies.
We had it good for far too long. Memento, Tremors, Kung Pao, Miller's Crossing, all these 10s.
This is our penance.
Yes. Although after watching Tim Burton's Ed Wood, my feelings are much more conflicted now. I would say that.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
You feel for Ed.
Oh yeah.
Movie magic got me.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get there. That's a little teaser for the for
foreshadowing.
3 hours from now, however long the sets are going. Hopefully not 3 hours.
Well, the first of the 3 that we're going to be reviewing is Glen or Glenda from 1953, directed by Ed Wood. It is, I think, classified as an exploitation movie, but it is about a psychiatrist, I guess, telling a cop about 2 stories of 2 different people who are interested in appearing as the opposite sex in different ways. I don't know how best to phrase this, and they also don't know how to phrase it the best way in the movie either.
I think, to give them a smidge of credit, I think this was the nomenclature scientifically at the time. Yes. It's kind of like the label queer, where if you were to say, now that guy's mighty queer in the 50s, they'd be like, what are you talking about? But now queer is this like umbrella term that has been reclaimed. So it's you know, and there are some people that I know on Twitter at least who like they're like old school trans people, and like they refer to themselves as transvestites. I think that is also a reclaimed thing. Okay. In some, I don't think it's broadly reclaimed, but I think in some communities it kind of is. So yeah, we can probably just say trans or transgender here. Yeah. But again,
it gets muddy because it's so clearly saying that okay, yeah, it's mostly about two people. One of them Glen or Glenda and the other one Alan or Anne. Alan or Anne gets a sex change. Glen or Glenda specifically refers to himself as a transvestite, but only to the extent that he likes wearing women's clothing. He's still straight. He's still a male.
So he's still I think this is, I feel like this would be a good application of the term queer, where it's like not necessarily like straight, but like deviant, and I don't mean deviant in like a negative connotation.
Nah, yeah, totally. That's the same
but
thing.
It's, you know.
First off, I just want to note I watched the Amazon. I know that technically the film length is a little bit longer, but on Amazon it says that it's 69 minutes, and I just thought that should be noted down.
Great.
Nice. Yes.
Perfect.
Also, I thought, jumping ahead, I guess we're probably going to refer to the movie Ed Wood a few times along the way here, but I got a pretty good chuckle when the producer tells him to make Glen or Glenda. He's like, whatever, do what you want, just make sure it's 7 reels long. And if you guys don't know, a reel equates to about 10 minutes. So he made this like exactly the minimum length that was required for it to be. So yeah.
Well, I think it said they shot it in like 4 days.
Yeah, something like that.
Shot it in 4 days, which is wild.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Ed Wood was efficient, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. The anti-Kubrick.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? What's our overall take? I'm guessing you guys hadn't seen an Ed Wood movie before.
No.
Yeah, this was my second. I watched Plan 9 first, and then I watched this one.
And then did you watch Ed Wood last?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Same.
At least I'm glad you guys did that, because I do think that's better if you see the other ones.
Yeah, because like watching the Ed Wood movie, I recognized like, oh yeah, this is where they did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not. It's hard to. I wouldn't classify this as like so bad it's good, in that like I didn't really laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I think watching it with like more modern sensibilities. I mean, obviously, I laughed at Bela Lugosi because what on earth was any of his shit?
I know.
Yeah.
That was wild.
There's a green dragon at the door.
Beware.
Pull the string.
Yeah.
Beware of the big green dragon that sits on your doorstep. He eats little boys. Puppy ducktails and big fat snails.
That shit, I was like, yeah, all right, because it started out with like him in like a science lab doing some shit. I was like, okay.
He's in like a spooky house. I instantly thought of Postmortem.
Oh yeah,
that's
I think that's also. I feel a certain sort of kinship with Ed Wood, only in the sense that like he's very resourceful in how he does things, and I feel like in some of our filmmaking, it's like we do what we can with what we have and who we have, and I resonate very strongly with that. So like seeing Tim Burton's movie kind of recontextualizing these other movies, I think helped me appreciate them more, even though they're not technically like good. The Bela Lugosi stuff, whatever, I guess it's a palate cleanse. It's so bizarre and weird that I was like, all right, man, But the actual, like, the meat and potatoes of all this, I was not expecting it to be, like, narrated. Both of the movies are, like, narrated a lot. And I'm like, I think you can, well, like, again, it's 53, so probably not. But I was like, you can trust the audience to, like, kind of figure it out. You don't need to, like,
I don't know about this stuff, though.
To some extent, like, through dialogue.
I think the audience could get it. I almost feel like the narration is present in this more as like a plea of being like trying to it's like the movie's trying to explain itself, because I mean, LGBTQ
it's very clearly
is like even
it's a
less...
passionate issue for Ed Wood.
Yeah. It felt like a documentary almost.
Yeah,
with the narration.
I thought it was like a PSA that you'd see on TV in the 50s. That's better. Yeah. It's like, now observe the modern man as he walks down the street. Is he feeling at home in his own body? Or... like something
they'd show in like a high school, like a sex ed or like some sort of
exactly.
like an educational thing.
Exactly. Yeah, which made it very weird. As it goes on, it slips more and more into feeling like a narrative. And it got like easier to follow.
Once it starts getting into like the Glenn trying to like tell his girlfriend about his secret, it became more narrative than just like, look at this sad sack of shit looking at women's clothes in the department store that he can't wear.
After the extended, like, very, very David Lynchy like sequence where you see like the guy wrestling with the girl on the couch or something, and he's like taking off her clothes, and
big yikes on that one.
Or like the people like fading in and out of the rooms. Like literally, I was thinking like this is, I don't know if he ever has cited Ed Wood, but this feels very like Twin Peaks, like David Lynch-esque kind of like the creepy trippiness of it. And
I'm gonna burst your bubble a little bit.
What?
Ed Wood did not do those scenes.
Oh, he didn't. Oh, okay.
They were reportedly added by producer George Weiss. He needed extra scenes. He needed extra scenes to add to what he felt was an overly short film. While not organic parts of the narrative, they seem to tell their own tales of gender dynamics and so fit in with the general themes of the film.
That's very interesting.
That is very interesting
to me.
That's like the flirtatious opposite of what you'd expect a producer to add to a movie.
Yeah.
The flirtatious and striptease themed vignettes were typical of 1950s exploitation films and grindhouse films, as was the rape scene. So,
oh man, if that's it, then that's a bummer, because I took those scenes as like, oh, this is kind of like a progressive, but also like I guess progressive in terms of like filmmaking. Like it's a very like artsy way of. I thought that was like supposed to be.
But it's funny that we're trying to give
groundbreaking.
We're trying to give Ed Wood credit, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, that is a bummer. Like if it's that, then it is just exploitation, like sex stuff. But I thought it was like, oh, that's supposed to be Glenn, like the male part of his psyche wrestling with the female part of his psyche. And
is that how you saw it?
That's what I thought it was supposed to be. So that's kind of fucked that wasn't even him. That makes that way more muddy. Yeah. Damn.
Because I hated that part. I was very uncomfortable the entire time.
Oh, it was uncomfortable. But, and I'm still not like giving him credit for like it being that affecting. But if it was, if it had been out of Ed Wood's brain, I guess, I would.
You could have been like, okay,
there's some artistic intent there at the very least.
It's shocking and it's uncomfortable, but there's something behind it.
Yeah.
But guess not. Guess not.
Okay. That makes it. Now it is just uncomfortable. If it doesn't have that.
That's the only thing it is.
Yeah. Dang.
It's just a rape scene and not an artistic one. Damn it. But some of I mean I will say some of the lines of dialogue were like really affecting. there's like some it's off camera. It's just because he'll kind of input these bodiless voices, like depicting different scenes. Like I feel like there was one that was like, it was like a little girl that was like, it's them talking about like, oh well if we were meant to fly, the good Lord would give us wings. So you kind of get these voices, but there's this one conversation, and someone posted the full quote, so I screenshotted it. But I think this is like the exchange between characters that I think kind of sold the movie for me, or at least watching it with modern sensibilities kind of made it above like Plan 9 and kind of gave some merit to it.
Yeah.
And I think it was like two like factory worker dudes.
I remember that part.
Did you read about the guy that hangs to a girl? Says he was perfectly normal, too.
How can a guy be normal and go and do a thing like that to himself?
All the same, it must take a lot of guts to pull a stunt like that.
That's a problem I don't ever intend to face.
Maybe it's a problem we should all face.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, 1953.
Yeah.
With that specific issue, and like that's a line of dialogue. I was like, holy
incredible.
Shit. That
honestly,
kind of got me.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, the movie is confusing. It has, especially with the Bela Lugosi stuff. But I also wonder if, I mean, there's a lot of other garbage shit from this time. It's not every movie from the 50s is Singing in the Rain, you know what I mean? So, like, I wonder if it also got buried because of the subject matter and how kind of progressively it took it, because there's some archaic terminology and how it handles it, but like we said, I think that is kind of how it was, because there's a lot of moments where it's like, wow, this is really like they're handling this way better than I was expecting them to.
There was a very big emphasis on having empathy for trans people. And being an ally in that way, which I think was really cool. Really cool to do in 1953.
Part of me wonders, and I'm not entirely sure the time period of like the Hays Code. I feel like it might have been going on during this time, but between this and Plan 9, like trying to like parse through Ed Wood's weird idiosyncrasies and like use of stock footage and all of his other like kind of incongruent weirdo shit, I wonder if like the messages of his movies is kind of pissed off, you know, the people of note, like, because Glen or Glenda, it's like very, you know, in some ways clumsily trying to like have people accept trans people. Plan 9 Plan 9, he talks about like the atom bomb and like how stupid man is for trying to blow everything up. And it's like, this is not too far out from like World War II, which like we had just, you know, unleashed the atom bomb on Japan, and like it's like, what is this un-American bullshit? We don't like the atom bomb, but we had to use it. And you're trying to say that we're dumb for doing that? So it's like, I wonder, because I mean, I don't know, when I think of like bad movies, I have a certain thing in mind, and I have trouble thinking of people in the 1950s being able to like differentiate between like a good movie and like what makes a bad movie. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's just like, there's a lot of schlock. People are still figuring out the art form. It's not like all these like archetypes of movies have been around forever like they are now, where like we can recognize those stories and see when it's like a shitty version of that. But it's like in the 50s, really, like they're throwing popcorn at the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's like Tim Burton's, you know, that could be movie magic on Tim Burton's part. But I feel like the reaction would just be like, I don't get that. Or maybe, you know, maybe they saw the sex change stuff and they were like, oh, that's un-American.
Yeah.
I almost slipped into Jimmy Stewart. Well, you're trying to tell me that Glen is also Glenda?
There are definitely still some Ed Wood shoddy filmmaking elements in this that do make it be like, okay, well, you could have done a little bit more work there.
You could have done
like
2 takes instead of 1.
Yeah. Like,
is there anything in particular
no,
you have in mind?
It was perfect.
There's a couple like weird jump cuts or like people's lines being cut off.
But I'm talking about like the stuff like there's like a newspaper, and they like zoom in on a headline, and it is clearly they have a newspaper, and then it's like they had a separate piece of paper that they printed the headline they wanted on and cut out and taped it onto the newspaper.
I didn't notice that.
That's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. There is still like that stuff in the movie where it's like, okay.
Or it's innovative genius.
Right, yeah. Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah, definitely that one.
What's he trying to say? False flag?
Yeah, and then also which was kind of a go-to thing with Ed Wood, which he does in Plan 9, but it's funny how there's more of this in a movie like Glen or Glenda as opposed to something where it would be a little bit more appropriate like Plan 9. But like the overuse of stock footage, like especially when it's talking about I think it's Alan or Anne who they say like, oh, they fought in World War II, and then it's like 5 fucking minutes of just war footage.
It's like that scene in Space Thunder Kids with the tanks.
Yeah, exactly. And then that montage is over, and then it's like, and then he got a sex change, and now she's a lovely young woman, and that's it. Wasn't that war footage cool? Yeah, but they do say something like they refer to when Anne gets the sex change, they say like, oh, she's now I think he says that like a lovely young woman or something, and like even just saying something like that is kind of like it's a nice positive affirmation of like a trans person, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
but,
this is go ahead.
The implication there is that a trans woman isn't a woman until she has bottom surgery.
Yeah.
And that's just like not cool, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't get everything right.
Yeah, and it was like partially based on an actual like trans woman of the time, Christine Jorgensen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which, like, again, doing that at that period of time is also
Very
I didn't even know. I mean,
brave.
honestly, I didn't even know, I guess, that operation existed in 1952.
Mm-hmm. I knew about Christian Jorgensen before.
Oh, okay.
I did not.
Because and kind of coming back to like the whole you're not a real woman if you don't have bottom surgery. The way I feel like the ending was a little bit of a cop out too. He's just like he met the right girl, so he didn't want to wear women's clothing anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like
that
undercut the entire.
I was like,
yes.
well then,
Yep.
I was like, well then, what are you trying to say?
Which
You just gotta meet the right girl.
it really bummed me out because I was like the scene where he explains it to her, and then she's sitting in the chair and she like leans back and then she stands up and she hands him her sweater.
Yeah.
Like as a way of like showing that she's accepting him. I thought that was actually kind of sweet.
I cried.
I thought
there were tears flowing from my eyes. I had to pause the movie.
I thought it was kind of moving. And then they do the thing where it's like, oh, and then he doesn't need to. It's like, oh, come on! You almost had it. It almost gets stuff really right. It's like in one way it's very good, very very like handles the stuff very well, and then in other ways it drops the ball. Right.
Yeah.
In like the worst parts.
Yeah.
I watched this movie with my girlfriend, who's also trans. So I guess here's me coming out as trans to the Duds.
Do you want to? Okay.
Yeah. No. Let's do that.
Okay.
Because I think it'll make what I have to say make more sense.
Okay.
From my point of view. Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. What were we talking about?
The scene.
I've been drinking too much already.
Okay, I was talking about the scene where she hands him the sweater, and then how the movie
Yes.
backpedals.
Yes, that's right. So at the when it got to that part where the psychiatrist said that Barbara needs to take on
That's it.
the personality of Glenda. So with both the Hope and I were just like, what? Like what how does a person do that? So this poor fiance is now supposed to be the fiance and the mom and the self? Like, that's just too much to be for a person.
Yeah.
And completely just denying like any possibility that Glenda could be like actually who she is, you know?
You know, I thinking about it now, I wonder if Ed wrote that part in because Dolores, his girlfriend who plays the wife in the movie, because she wasn't a fan of the cross-dressing.
Right.
I wonder if he did that as a way of telling her, Dolores, like, oh yeah, I'll get over it. Don't worry about it. Maybe? I don't know.
That's an interesting idea.
Maybe. Or, you know, it's also he's not the best writer, so maybe he thought that sounded like a happy ending.
And maybe it's like internalized transphobia.
Yeah, that too.
You know?
I'm sure there was a lot of that back then.
Because, I don't know, looking at the Dolores Fuller, like, Wikipedia, apparently she was not super stoked on Sarah Jessica Parker's portrayal of her.
I read about that, yeah.
But there's, like, a quote about Dolores Fuller in her private life section. She's also been quoted as saying that his dressing up didn't bother me. We all have our little queer habits. And giving Woods drinking as the reason for their breakup.
Oh, okay.
Which the movie... Yeah. The movie very, very briefly mentions in, like, the sort of, like, where are they now blurb in, like, the credits. So, in the movie, you just see Ed Wood kind of as a happy-go-lucky guy, which there was probably all the other shit kind of bubbling under the surface. So, I don't know
I
if
have
we
more
can,
to
like,
say about that when we get to that movie, about the way that is portrayed
Good
in
point.
that.
Yeah.
I'll hold my tongue on that subject for now.
Well, and maybe not. I was just trying to like think of some other way because with how like much it seemed like he was putting himself into it, that ending does seem very strange if it's for any other thing. Unless, like you said, it could be like the internalized transphobia.
Yeah.
I read on
Like
his Wikipedia article that he said like he wished he was a woman. And it's like that's pretty much what it means to be a trans woman is just like having that part of you, that desire. It's like that's not a very cisgender thought to have.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I wonder how much of it is like internalized and that sort of like maybe he put that in there to like try to convince himself that I actually really do believe this, when it's like, you know, deep in his heart of hearts probably doesn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough to like speculate on it, especially with like pretty heavy subject matter.
Yeah. And, you know, like, so apparently his mom, like, dressed him, like, wanted a girl and dressed him up as girls clothing when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And so, like, just like in Glen or Glenda. And, you know, maybe that's what got him into wearing women's clothing. Or maybe also he was trans, you know? Either possibility is possible.
Yeah. And no. Maybe it's just trying to find a reason. Like, maybe that is that, like, oh, why do I think this way? Even if it is how he feels, Yeah.
Yeah, trying to rationalize it.
It must be internalized if it is any of that, because he like obviously seems very like supportive of it. I also really like the line where I don't remember who, like, if it's like two adults talking. I almost feel like it's maybe a parent and their kid. I don't know, but one of them's like, oh, if the parents are trans, does that mean their kids are gonna be? And then they say, no, it's not hereditary. And I was like, oh, that's also very, like, a lot of people, that's still a complaint that, like, oh, these gay people are making their kids gay. It's like bullshit or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a very good take that was in this movie. Another very good take is separating the idea of gender expression from sexuality, because those are totally different spheres. They're orthogonal to each other, and to be able to say that in 1953 it's pretty incredible.
And how he, like, cast a bunch of, like, actual either transgender people or cross-dressers in the movie, like as extras or whatever, is also pretty cool. I don't know, do we have much else to say about this movie? It's very weird because, like we said, it is half just a PSA, so it's kind of different kind of animal. So
do we want to rate these like dud or spud individually?
I think so.
Okay. I before we move on, I want to address the misogyny in this movie.
Oh, okay, sure.
This is the one I was thinking of. It doesn't do with misogyny. It's that hats cause baldness.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And get the hat. Better still, get the receding hairline. Men's hats are so tight they cut off the blood flow to the head, thus cutting off the growth of hair. 7 out of 10 men wear a hat, so the advertisements say. 7 out of 10 men are bald. But what about the ladies?
And that was in the middle of saying, like, so I didn't watch Ed Wood with my girlfriend. I watched the other two. And so after I watched Ed Wood and I found out, like, oh yeah, Ed Wood also either was a crossdresser or was transgender. She was like, I'm not surprised because of that part in the movie when they're like, oh yeah, women's clothing is just so comfortable and men's clothing is just so constrictive and makes you bald and uncomfortable. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, what are you trying to say, Ed Wood?
Experience. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I always notice that when I like watch TV shows. Particularly, like, Better Call Saul is a good example, when it's like guy comes home from work and then stays in his work clothes, like, all right, baby, time to unwind and like hang out, and he just takes his tie off, but he's still wearing his slacks and like full button up. I'm like, that is not unwinding. What are you talking about?
No, unless if I know that I'm like done for like I'm not going out to the store or something, instantly I'm in my pajamas and like a t-shirt. Like
same. It's just too hot otherwise. I don't know, I live in Texas, so that's just kind of my experience. And I'm hot,
that'll do it.
So I put on my comfy clothes.
No, same. If it's like, all right, are we going anywhere? Are we getting groceries? No. Gym shorts. Because why wouldn't you? Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just say, why wouldn't you when you get home? Unless you're like some kind of weird masochist. Like, I watched too much Mad Men, so I need to wear this like button-up shirt and tie and drink whiskey to unwind at 5 o'clock. Like you're fooling yourself.
I remember the misogynistic take I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
That is in this one?
That is actually in this movie,
Okay.
Glen or Glenda. When they're talking about Anne and how, like, now that she's a woman, now that she's had bottom surgery, she needs to learn how to become a woman.
Oh.
Whereas previously, before, she was just acting as a woman, but now she
Yeah.
is one. And she
Yeah.
needs to learn how to like submit to men and shit.
Oh,
yeah. And like that, I know that's like a big issue too. It's like who gets to be trans, who doesn't. Like if you put all of your time and effort into passing, then you're real. Versus if you just identify, like I know that's like a still like an issue in that community
totally.
of like legitimacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's the
And-
though it gets
Yeah, like trans women face misogyny just like cis women do.
yeah.
And I see like posts on Reddit all the time of like trans women just like, somebody just catcalled me. Like that's like I feel like gender affirming in that, but I also feel greatly offended by it. You know, how do I feel about this? How
Just
am I
like-
supposed to feel?
Yeah.
Just like, sorry, I'm just like, it's like, you know, oh, get out of the road, bitch, and you're like, he thinks I'm a bitch.
Yeah, it's exactly
like, oh my
what it's
God.
like.
You know,
Yeah.
you're, on one hand,
Got
it's this terrible thing, but on the other hand, you use the correct pronouns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there were times in this movie when they referred to Glenda with she/her pronouns.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
I was just gonna you said pronouns and I was like, who said bitch? And it's like, yeah, my preferred pronouns are bitch and cunt.
Yes.
Although, I mean, the way I do not refer to like women as bitches. Like for me, like the term bitch is like gender neutral, which I know that's just saying for me personally. That's
Yeah.
not saying
Yeah.
that it is,
Yeah.
but it's just like, you know, I'll see like one of my friends be like, "Oh, what's up, bitch?" Like it's you know, it's
Sure.
in my own head. It's like
It's like
bitch is
dude
like
in that way. Or
yeah,
guy.
kinda, yeah. Which like I know that is not like not for everybody, and like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try to be sensitive, but it is, you know.
I call my guy friends penises.
What's up, dick breath?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
What's up, cocks?
Yeah.
There's another bad medical take that I want to discuss, which is
Oh.
when the psychiatrist says that Glen is an author creating the character of Glenda,
Oh, yeah.
and that's just not what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like,
You know?
how long? Because I know what's the medical textbook, like the DS something. You know what I'm talking about?
DSM.
The
yeah.
DS Lite.
Yeah, the DS Lite. You know, it's like
The-
lighter,
the-
more
the-
compact.
Yeah.
The DS nuts.
Nice.
Nice. I feel like up until like maybe within the last 30 years, like even homosexuality was still listed as like a DSM, like mental illness.
Yeah.
So it's like this shit is
Wow,
like ingrained
it is.
in society for a long time. So like in the 50s, they're gonna be like, that's it. Again, they probably thought it was like medical to the book, but it's like maybe the book's wrong.
Yeah.
So, fun fact: gender dysphoria is still in there.
Is it?
Really?
Yeah, and one of the reasons why it's still there is because you need a diagnosis in order to give a prescription, and so for hormone replacement therapy, like the hormone shots and stuff, you
have
need
to
a
say,
diagnosis in order
so
to
you have-
prescribe it. So they leave gender dysphoria in there so that people can have
Interesting.
access to hormones. And it's not a great solution, but
Yeah.
it's what's happening, and at least people can get their hormones. Oh, I'm loving this kitten right now.
Oh, you want to climb?
Oh,
I think he's
Oh my
all the way to
god.
the top.
hungry. Let's do our judgment on this one, and then I'm gonna
Okay.
put these guys I think they're probably getting hungry, so I'm gonna put them back with their mom.
Okay. Oh my god. Oh. I don't know. I'll go. I guess I'll go first here. I mean, I almost think that this like shouldn't be in the dud cup like a little bit. I feel like for me personally, what I took away from it sort of outweighs like the bad elements, which there definitely are bad elements.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to root for it for being at least somewhat of a good representation in some ways.
Yeah.
Of for its time, I suppose. Like I was watching it and I was like, man, I would almost like watch like a Criterion restoration of it. I feel like it'd be almost worthy of having it, like a rescanning, fixing some of the audio, fixing some of the the visuals, because I feel like the Amazon one was like the quality was not super great. Like it almost looked like a VHS tape scan. So
maybe
I don't know.
Yeah.
Man, it's tough to say spud or dud because that spud or dud feels so binary for a movie that I think is anything but, really.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Did you do that on purpose?
You like that?
It's non-binary.
You like that? That's the kind of shit you're gonna get with episode 100 of There Will Be Duds. I'm saying light spud.
Okay.
I'm saying
spud.
light spud. I liked more than I disliked, and I even kind of like the Bela Lugosi shit because it was weird. Because I wanna walk around the house saying like a big fat snail, a dog's tail, a puppy dog tail.
Yeah, and
he's got some fun weird shit.
That weird rhyme that he does. Yeah.
Beware. Take care.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
So light spud.
Okay. I'll do my. It is weird. It's like I don't necessarily feel like it should be not in the dud cup, but I also agree that it is kind of hard to define. I'm gonna go like more like I think I'll say dud for it in terms of spud or dud. In terms of like, what we judge those on as being like, is it a good bad movie or is it a bad movie? Like we said, there wasn't a ton that I was like laughing at. It was more.
Well,
just
in that
like,
case, yeah, that is a dud. Then yeah,
it was more just like interesting, or just very surprising. But there was still the shit like the newspaper or the stock, like that classic Wood bad movie making that was in it. That's still present. But also, like, if you asked me to give it a number rating, I'd say like 5 or 6 or something like that. Which makes it weird because every other, like most movies in the dud cup, it's either 1 or 10. There's no in between really for dud movies. It's like either I hate it, it's a dud and it's a 1, or it's a spud and it's a 10. So the fact that this is like right in the middle, that's what kind of makes it a weird thing for me. But in terms of dud or spud, I would say dud. So
interesting. That's a good point. It wasn't so bad that it was funny. It was bad in its own ways. But overall I feel the same way as Nick, I think. Just like that I did get a lot out of this movie. And it was very progressive for its time. Even though it had its own like absolutely shitty takes. But it's like for the movie that it is, it was a great message, and so
could have been people in 1950s that watched that and they were like, they felt seen, they felt accepted in whatever limited way the movie could kind of give that. There could have been people back then that were like, oh shit, other people who look and think like me on the silver screen, which they probably didn't very seldom, other than like maybe like underground special theaters that showed burlesque shows or, you know, kind of outsider cinema.
That's a great point about representation, because like if you look at trans women in media, you don't see a lot of positive representation. Like Chandler's dad in Friends. Have y'all seen Friends?
No, is that a thing?
No.
Yeah, Chandler's dad is transgender in Friends, and they make a lot of jokes about it, and it's terrible.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's extremely offensive. But like as shocking as the terrible takes were, I wasn't really offended by them, because I was like, because I wasn't prepared for it to be as progressive as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah.
So I am gonna say, ooh, shit, because you know, like, I don't think that this is a movie I'm gonna like show my dad in preparation to coming out as transgender.
What the hell?
Yeah. Like, I don't think it accomplishes that task.
Daddy, chill.
Yeah.
But I bet that it would have made a big difference to trans people in the 50s who would have seen it. So, man, should I flip a coin?
It's tough.
I think I feel the same way as you guys. I'm just kind of sort of divesting my interest in this, you know, like that, the sort of like the goodwillness that doesn't correlate to like a dud movie in my head, but that doesn't make it a spud. It's like it's separate, because to me a spud isn't like a good movie. A spud is a good bad movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And to me it's not a good bad movie.
It's not a good bad movie. This is
not a good scale.
No,
to
this
use.
is not a spud. Yeah.
Usually it is. Usually it's pretty easy, but
it's
then
a scale that it's
you get ones like this, or your Nicolas Cage movies that just it's Glen or Glenda and Nicolas Cage that just kind of throw a wrench.
It's not a scale. It is not a scale for nuance at all.
Yeah.
So, since it's not a spud, I will say dud.
The next movie in the lineup is another Ed Wood movie. It is 1959's Plan 9 from Outer Space. Also directed by Ed Wood. It is about I guess like an alien invasion sort of thing on Earth, and the aliens are they're trying to figure out why they're here, what they're trying to do, and they are trying to like take over or kill the humans by making zombies. And it was hailed for a very long time as like the worst movie of all time. It's kind of your granddaddy of the bads, like pre Troll 2, pre The Room. It's kind of the first one to kind of achieve that, sit on that throne of badness.
Yes.
Throne of Badness. I would listen to that album.
And yeah, it's Ed Wood's. It's what he's known for. If you know an Ed Wood movie, it's it's this one.
I have known of this movie for a long time. Always heard of it. Always seen it referenced. You know, sort of with the same reverency as people have for like those other movies you mentioned, The Room, Troll 2.
Yep.
So I thought this movie was called Planet 9. As in the 9th planet in the solar system.
They haven't talked about Pluto once.
So, fun fact, fun astronomy fact, I guess. Slight digression.
Oops.
the same guy who led the charge against Pluto not being a planet anymore. Like he was pro Pluto not being a planet. He was like, guys, Pluto's not a planet.
Yeah.
That guy now thinks that there's another planet further out in the solar system that's actually big enough to be called a planet.
Wow.
Based on some like arrangements of some orbits of some other objects.
I don't know if I trust this guy.
Maybe. Yeah, I know. You know, in Psych, do you guys watch Psych?
I know
TV
of
show?
it.
Yeah,
I know of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a recurring joke in that show. Just like whenever they try to hit on women, they're just like, "Hey, you hear about Pluto? That's messed up." That's their pickup line every time.
That's funny.
Yeah, no. My sister's super into Psych, and they do a lot of like parody episodes. So they will parody like famous movies or TV shows to the point where there was one episode that they did that was called like Dual Spires, is like Twin Peaks parody. But they had a bunch. They had like a lot of the mainstays in it, and it was like full of references. I could totally see them doing like a Plan 9 from Outer Space style episode.
Oh, totally.
In fact,
That'd be fun to watch.
you know what? I'm not even going to verify it, but I'm sure, I guarantee you there is an episode where they reference it.
Nice. Plan 9 and Planet 9. Two themes of the show Psych.
Well, there you go. I'm talking speculatively out of my ass.
Like we were about Ed Wood's gender earlier in the episode.
Yeah, so this has like I'll say this is the only one that I had seen prior to this. I've seen Plan 9 a couple times.
Okay.
But it's the only one of his movies that I'd seen before. So I don't know if the other ones like the Bride of the Monster or Jailbait have this stuff too. But like this is the one that has like, you know, the fucking like cardboard tombstones getting knocked over, and like this is like there is kind of a reason, as far as I know, why this one is like the king, because that little like, you know, me talking about the newspaper clipping in Glen or Glenda, that shit is all over.
That's quaint.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple shots of like the boom mic that you can see either the shadow or like you can see the physical microphone like dipping like below the like the camera line, and then kind of like, oh shit, he pulls it back up.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't notice any of those.
Oh, you didn't notice the tombstones like getting knocked over?
No, I was
They
too
looked
captivated.
I don't
by
know
the
if I
story.
noticed. I don't know if I noticed any of them getting knocked over, but I definitely knew that it. And like that didn't bother me as much. I was like, yeah, it's a movie on a set.
Yeah.
It's kind of quaint, but I understand.
Now I think it's really charming, but I think it's really that Ed Wood didn't know his place as a filmmaker, not as a, you know, his
That's a trans woman.
Yeah.
Ed Wood needed to be brought down a few pegs, if you ask me.
It's like you were comparing him to there's like a kinship because, you know, making a movie with what you got or whatever. But it's like but we're not trying to premiere our short films at the, you know, at the Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood. We know where our stuff belongs, more or less.
Yeah.
But he makes stuff like this where you have the plane cockpit sets with like the cardboard fucking like steering consoles and stuff.
Oh,
and he's like trying to put this in like big theaters. That's where it kind of gets
and again, even in the Tim Burton movie, he's like talking to Patricia Arquette, and he's like, I write, I direct, I produce, I edit, and I star in all my movies. And she's like, there's no way one man can do all of that. And it's like, well, I can. Well, there's only two of us, me and Orson Welles.
And
it's like, oh, okay, I see like where you see yourself in the and it's like you gotta have a little confidence, you know, in yourself, but like you and Orson Welles, I don't know.
I don't want to wait till you get that, but I love Ed Wood in that movie. I love it.
I would like to see Ed Wood's version of like F for fake, though. How we would handle that.
Yeah, that'd be funny. One of the biggest laughs I got out of this, I feel like it's probably not one that is at least pointed out as much as the other things, like the stilted acting, or like I said, the gravestones and other stuff.
Yeah.
I love that the ruler, the character played by Bunny Breckenridge, when they like go to his, the two like underlings or whatever go and like report to him, he's just like at a desk and he's using pen and paper. It's the fact that he's like this alien overlord and he just has a pen and paper that he's using.
I love that. That's a very good point.
It's like you couldn't even put makeup on him to make him look at least kind of different.
A little different, yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you Earth people are so stupid and different from us.
You're stupid, stupid minds. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we talked about this a little bit in Glen or Glenda, but one thing that this movie features prominently is a narrator instead of like main characters.
Yeah.
You're halfway into the movie before you realize, oh, okay, the airplane pilot is a main character.
Holy shit. I had the exact same like realization, like exact same. I was like seeing scene to scene with like, you have the cops, you have Tor Johnson's character, you have Bela Lugosi's character, you have like there's like the government dude, yeah
yes, covering his face with the cape.
And then it was like the second or third scene with the airplane pilot in the airplane, and I was like, oh, that's the guy that just left the house and like said goodbye to his wife, and I was like, oh, that's the main character. Okay.
He said goodbye to his wife, and his wife said, where did it go? Now toddle off and fly your flying machine, darling. Excellent dialogue right there.
These are how humans talk.
If we're
they had a narrator instead of having main characters for like half the movie.
Yeah.
And
much like Glen or Glenda.
Exactly. They're here to tell us a story, and they're going to
explain us a story.
Yeah. And I think this kind of goes as a whole from movies from this time period, but like I don't know, something about like movies from the 50s are like liminal audio experiences for me, or liminal like video experiences, where it's like I picture this movie being on an old tube TV in the living room, and it's like 3:00 in the morning, and it's like an odd source of comfort for me. Like when I was a kid, when I couldn't sleep, I had like a little Nickelodeon clock radio that had a little light with like the slime going through it. But when I couldn't sleep, I would like kind of click it on, and I would just listen to like late night. I think it was just like country radio. I think it was like the local radio station. But there was like something oddly comforting to me in that sort of kind of staticky sound to it. And I think these movies, and maybe some movies from the 50s, I don't know, it's like oddly comforting. Like I would put this on like a tube TV in like, just around the house, like late at night, just sitting on the couch. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I picture late at night sitting on the couch as a kid, I watching TV, I picture the Girls Gone Wild ads.
Well, those two.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because Chloe and I were talking today about because HBO changed from HBO Max to just Max.
Yeah.
And she was like,
it.
Yeah. She's like, is that because like of the association like of HBO with being like darker subject matter, and also we show nudity? And that made me think of like on my parents' cable plan, whenever like we'd get random free weekends of like Showtime or Cinemax, DVR, and it's like, whoa, just very softly lit, like topless girls kissing each other on a bed. And I was like, oh, My parents can never know about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Bowling for
change the
Columbine
channel.
is up next. Interesting.
And then you change the channel again so they don't hit the last button on the remote and see that
Yeah.
you're watching it.
Oh, you see, I had the last button down, so it'd be like I'm watching South Park. I'm gonna flip back to like Nickelodeon, so then I have that like switch channels back and forth like locked in. So if I hear that knock on the door, I wasn't watching South Park.
Yeah.
I was watching The Cosby Show. That's less problematic, right?
I was watching Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah. My parents would be like, I wish you were watching South Park.
Yeah. Another Glen or Glenda comparison that I thought of is I think this is also like towards the end of the movie, and I'm trying. Fuck, I wish I'd written down. Guys might know what I'm talking about, anyways. But so there's this bit that I brought up when we were talking about Glen or Glenda, or no, I think one of you guys did, where there's like the people, and they do this a couple times, where it's like, oh, if we were meant to fly, God would have given us wings. If we were meant to go on the road, He would have given us wheels. And it's supposed to prove a point of like, it doesn't matter, what, because that one's proving a point that like it doesn't matter what we thought 10 years ago.
I think I know where you're going with this.
It's in like, if we were meant to be a woman, He would have made you a woman. But it's like, well, obviously not. That's not how it works. And that's the point that Glen or Glenda is making. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. Like a neat point. But then in this, it uses basically the same logic, similar dialogue to be like, so this is why aliens are real and they're raising people from the dead.
We once laughed at the horseless carriage, the airplane, the telephone, the electric light, vitamins, radio, and even television. And now some of us laugh at outer space. God help us in the future.
Like, much like the ending of Glen or Glenda kind of backtracking on the whole trans acceptance thing. It's like he's backtracking on that thing in this and be like, yeah, you can also use that logic to like explain why aliens are real or whatever. This is a little silly.
The future events that will affect you in the future.
In the future, yeah.
Yeah, this was what did I even write down? I was like, I think this would be fine without the narrator. Maybe I was just super exhausted and I was just like taking it all in and just be like, yeah, that's fine. This is how movies work.
Go ahead.
I was like, he's a Dracula now? I was very confused. And I think because so much of it is like archival footage of Bela Lugosi.
Mm-hmm.
It goes without it's I feel like it's redundant to say this, but it's like this feels like 3 movies like smushed together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't.
Yeah. One about aliens, one about zombies, and one about vampires.
Yeah.
Which like makes sense because of how like liberally he uses like stock footage. This is basically he made the stock footage and then it's just like, oh, I can find a use for this.
Yeah.
Is this the one where we saw the bison, or was that Glen or Glenda?
Bison? I think that's Glen or Glenda.
Just like a stampede of bison.
Yeah, I think that's Glen or Glenda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Yep.
That's
right. Yep.
Crazy. Love it. Gotta love it.
I will say when you see when he's not covering his face, so this is Bella, not the other guy. Like just walking like in his Dracula duds, he looks so jazzed to be back in those things. He's just like got this big smile on his face and
he loves it.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think to like spot the shittiness of this, you do have to kind of be paying a little bit more attention. Like the gravestones, like what I was mentioning, like isn't super obvious if you're not looking for it.
Yeah.
But then there's some stuff that I think is more obvious. Again, like some of the sets being just totally like cobbled together, like the airplane cockpit, or like the little mausoleum in the graveyard.
Yeah, that was just literally a cardboard door.
Yeah.
Like you can almost like see the actor like crouching as they try to like come out of it because it's obviously like, tiny. Yeah,
or like struggling to get out of the grave.
They even kind of do that in the Tim Burton movie. Where he's like, well, I'm a pilot. Where's this pilot set? And like the guys like shackle it together behind him. And he's like, you're standing in it. And he turns around.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I was like, oh man, they really made those sets look exactly like they were in the movie. But then it's like, yeah, because they're cardboard boxes.
They're not hard to recreate.
It's not that hard to do.
Yeah.
One thing about that cemetery and those gravestones, that was a mixed faith cemetery. There were some stars of David in there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The crosses.
Yeah. Yep.
Ed Wood being progressive again.
Uh-huh.
Ed Wood has gone woke.
Yeah.
Ed woke.
He has Jewish people in his cemetery.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to get like a super what's the word? Like super meticulous, like perfectionist director, like Stanley Kubrick doing the Ed Wood biopic, where you have to like purposely make like shitty sets and stuff. But he's like, but
this is not right.
Yeah. Yeah, and also like there is a lot of like rough acting in this. Not only Tor's like a few lines that he like blubbers out that you can barely understand, but like a lot of the stuff is just like, I am doing this, now I am going to do this, or blah blah blah. Some of them try to put a little bit more like passion into it, like the main, not the leader, but like the male alien Eros. Yeah, that's it. Like when he's kind of explaining their whole plan to them at the end, like, you stupid humans are like.
So what if we do develop this solanite bomb? We'd be even a stronger nation than now.
Stronger. You see? Your stupid minds. Stupid.
That's all I'm taking from you.
Get back here, you fool!
In my land, women are for advancing the race, not for fighting man's battle.
That's right. Yeah.
Ew.
Zoinks.
But there's a part where he's like telling them about like what their plan was, and he's like, oh, we're gonna like take the sun particles and we're gonna explode those and it's gonna ignite the universe, or like that's what you're gonna do or whatever. And they're like, you can't explode a sun particle. And he's like, you can't measure an atom and yet you explode those. And it's like, I think we know how to measure atoms.
Yeah, I can confirm.
I'm pretty sure they knew how, and that's how they made the bombs.
Yeah.
They weren't just like, we're just gonna put some we don't know how many, we're just gonna put some atoms and we're just gonna explode them, any number of atoms.
We can't see or measure it, so it's got to be approximate.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's not a big deal if we're off by like a few thousand or whatever.
And especially saying that about particles of sunlight, because I'm trying to think this through from a scientific perspective. Like, okay, what does it look like to explode particles of sunlight? So like,
what does he even like mean specifically?
Does he mean photons? And if I were to explode a photon that's like in the ultraviolet range, I guess, then would I be left with photons of even less energy? And so then it's just like, is there's even less energy that's being detonated than what we started with before?
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me this movie's not scientifically sound.
Yeah. That's a good point. It is science fiction, but I feel like
No, I know.
Yeah, I feel like they have some.
But they're trying to insert real science into it. So you're like, okay, well, if you're inserting real science into it, I'm gonna like analyze what you're saying, and what you're saying is bunk.
Yeah. Particles of sunlight can't be seen, and it's like, what else are we seeing every day if not particles of sunlight?
Yeah. I guess he means like individual ones or something. I don't know.
At one point he says that particles of sunlight are made up of many atoms.
Oh, does he say that?
He does say that. So so maybe he doesn't mean photons. Maybe he means like solar flares. Maybe particles of sunlight, because a solar flare could fuck you up.
Yeah.
Cause one of those EMPs and disrupt all your communications.
Yeah. I think the standout for the bad acting though is probably regrettably, I guess, the main character, Jeff Trent. Like his shit is kind of rough. I noticed when
is that the pilot?
Yeah. When he does the thing where like he says his lines okay, but he's one of the people that like he'll say his line, like this is one of the things like on when you're doing theater, it's a big thing that you kind of work on is like making like active, I guess kind of like active listening or like reacting, so that like, because you know when you're on stage some people like say their lines and then they'll just kind of stand there and they'll wait for their next line, and he did that all the time. Like he would say his line and then there'd be the bits where like, you know, the guy's explaining the alien plan, and then it would cut back to him and he'd just be like
just standing there.
Or like when he goes to kiss his wife and he just goes like he does this, he goes is how he kisses. He does like the
go to Gregory Walcott's Wikipedia picture. He is making the exact same face that you were describing.
Awesome. That's sweet.
Like... You should put it on the thing when we get to this point. He's
just a dead stare.
Sweet. Yeah, that might be like the part that I'm talking about, because it looks like they're on the ship. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I feel like there was another part that kind of stood out to me with him, but there is the part where Bella's replacement is like, I think it's where he like dies, where he like turns to a skeleton or whatever. But he's like walking towards them. They're like in the backyard. It's the main guy and his wife and like a couple cops, I think, and maybe like the head investigator or whatever. And Bella zombie shows up, and he's like, you know, doing the slow walk towards them, and the dude just like unloads like 15 shots into him as he slowly walks towards them, and nobody moves or reacts or anything. They're just standing there and watching all of this happen with no reaction to anything. And that happens a few times where people just kind of stand and let the zombies just like attack them or whatever.
Oh no.
Yeah, just or like when he goes into the wife's like bedroom at night. He just like walks in her house and she's like that's not how you would react if somebody just came into your house at night.
Yeah, I remember saying out loud, "Is she gonna scream at something?"
Yeah, right. Yeah.
One thing that I did like about her performance was when she like bit her fist like in a surprised way, like.
Yeah, that's like the old 50s thing of like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Excellent S tier quality performance right there. I know that you're shocked now because you showed me with your fist.
Because you did the yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, a lot of these guys that he got, I mean, I don't think any of them were really like seriously trained actors, which again, so this is kind of what I was thinking of between Plan 9 and Glen or Glenda. Like, you know, Ed Wood is like largely considered to be like, you know, one of the worst directors of all time, etc. I think I mean, also sort of based on like Tim Burton's depiction, I think Ed Wood has the juice for like what makes a bad movie director a bad movie director.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Like you look at like, you know, your heavy hitters like Sam Maravich, Tommy Wiseau, Neil Breen. I can't think of any. I don't know. Probably not Uwe Ball. That dude's his own category of shitty. But you know, of all the qualities, it's like low production quality, hiring like your friends and random people to be like the leads in your movies, and just being wildly passionate but extremely underqualified.
Yeah.
And like between watching these two movies, like it's like, oh yeah, I get it. Like this is every time we speak reverently about like a spud, it's like we're describing Ed Wood essentially. Like he embodies all of those things.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's you know, he casted all of his anyone who would, you know, used anyone that he could.
Yeah.
And his very famous friend Bela Lugosi for some reason.
Yeah.
He wasn't even alive when most of this was made.
Yeah.
Although I guess Tor Johnson was like a wrestler.
Kinda, yeah.
So he was kind of recognized.
And Vampiro was pretty famous.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. She was. Yeah.
And
TV
apparently
host,
that part in Ed Wood about her wanting a non-speaking role was true.
Sweet.
She's like, I don't want a speaking role in this. I know it's gonna be too bad. Don't do this to me.
Her arms and hands looked so big. The way that she was like walking like that. I was like,
yeah.
Is she wearing like gloves? Or is it like the hot dog fingers from like Everything Everywhere all at once? I was like, her fingers just looked so oblong and weird.
Yeah, and she had like really long fingernails too.
Yeah. That kind of accentuated that. Yeah.
Yeah. And her waist was just so incredibly thin.
I couldn't stop like all the like wide shots where she was like walking towards the camera. That's like my eyes were locked onto that because it looked just like inhuman almost.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Very surprising to see.
I'm sure
in
she
person.
had some sort of like what do you call it? Like a binding thingy.
Yeah. There was, I read something about it that it was like, I think she did bind it, and there was something about like, God, was it like she put like flesh eating meat or flesh eating something? She put some weird like meat or something around her waist to like do that.
Flesh
Yeah.
eating meat?
Hold on.
I hate that. That sounds
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
She did. It was something weird. God, where did I read that?
Edward
How
should
did
have made
Vampira
a
get her
horror
waist
movie
so small?
about
To exaggerate her already waspish waistline, she strapped a flesh-wasting poultice of meat tenderizer to her midsection with a tightly bound rubber inner tube.
meat tenderizer.
A
Jesus
flesh-wasting poultice? I don't even know what that is.
The fuck is a poultice?
Poultice is like, it's like I don't know where I've heard of this before, but it's like a purposeful like. It's kind of hard to explain. It's just kind of like a blob, but it's like a blob with a purpose. I guess.
Purposeful blob.
Yeah, a purposeful blob of stuff.
Like this meat tenderizer. A blob of meat tenderizer.
Yeah, so it's a
Around
poultice.
the
Like
waist.
she mean. I feel like it like probably some like survival game like that I played or something.
Yeah,
like
right.
That. They use like a poultice for like a healing item or something.
Yeah.
Okay, Google says a soft, moist mass of material, typically of plant material or flour, applied to the body to relieve soreness and inflammation and kept in place with a cloth.
Oh, so it's like a medicinal thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say. Maybe they use it in like war, like World War II, like or like wars.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Maybe that's kind of that too.
Very
Another
strange.
like I guess kind of well-known dude, I just read this from I don't know if I know him from anything else, but it says he's a Hollywood veteran, Lyle Talbot, who plays the general guy, I think. And it says...
the general or the colonel?
As General Roberts.
Okay.
And it says other guest stars are Hollywood veterans Lyle Talbot, who said he never refused an acting job. But it's like, okay, dude.
Whoa.
But come on. I wish we had some of those people today, right? Like get somebody like I don't know. I'm trying to think like Ethan Hawke is like, I never refuse an acting job, so then I could just call him up and be like, hey, can you be in my short film or something?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Then just put him on the cover of it to like.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh my God, look at this new Ethan Hawke movie.
Yeah. Yep.
Or I'm thinking like, you know, who Neil Breen could get.
Yeah. That's a good example or good.
It's like Neil Breen's Before Sunrise.
Yeah, the general, when he was talking about the town where all the zombies were appearing, he said, "It's a small town, I'll admit, but a town of people who died." And that just tickled me. The delivery of that. How would this
and I
Hollywood
think it's San Fernando, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which at least nowadays is not what I would call a small town either.
Yeah.
That's back then.
And just like how this Hollywood veteran delivered, like when that's the line that you're given, you know, that's a challenging task.
Yeah.
To deliver that line in a convincing way.
Does this movie take place in day or night?
Because you can't tell.
Boy howdy, it seemed to alternate pretty rapidly between shots of the saucers at nighttime and then someone driving in the daytime, and then come back to nighttime and there's creepy guys walking through the graveyard, and then it's daytime driving, and then they get to the graveyard and then it's nighttime again. It's very confusing.
Honestly, I thought that the movie just took place over the course of several days.
Really?
That was my take. Yeah.
I mean, it has to with the guy like flying, like having multiple scenes of like flying the plane, right? I would
and
imagine.
The other guy, the
that's
colonel
true.
comes in from Washington, like.
Yeah, and
must have
the
taken
fact
time.
that, it's the fact that he goes home, right? Because I'm sure like probably commercial airline pilots, they probably fly maybe 2, maybe 3 flights in like a day, like a work day. Mm-hmm. Depending on the length, but like you're not gonna go home in between flights, so it has to be over the course of days. But it does, like, if not for that kind of stuff, or like you said, like the guy flying in from Washington, like stuff that you know would have to take multiple days, it does feel like it's over the course of a night or something like that.
They have a funeral
like happening
instantly for the captain for Tor, and it's like it's still night. I was like, oh yeah, one of those classic night funerals. Yep.
Yeah.
Those are very common.
Yeah. And then, did you guys think this too? Because I had to I like pointed it out to Clea, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't really notice that. I didn't really think about that." But like you see, like there's the shot of his, and it is his grave too. But you see like kind of a wider shot of the graveyard, and then you see like the ground start like swelling up at his gravesite.
Yes.
And you see it, and you know it's like it looks like kind of like normal size, you know. So you have the gravestone that's like, I don't know, yay big, like normal gravestone size, and then the body, the hole, also kind of normal size. But then it does the shot from his feet where he's actually coming out, and the gravestone looks like it's like 10 feet tall. So it just makes it look like Tor.
They buried him vertically.
No. Like he's coming out of the ground, but in this close-up shot of him coming out of the ground, they used a different gravestone, so it's way bigger. So it just makes him look like he's tiny. Person. Yeah. Yeah.
I was a big fan of the science fiction lingo that we found in this movie, the dictorobatory. machine that translates the languages.
Oh.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we've translated the alien language. It's a little different than our. It's like 2 words are different.
Yeah.
And then the Solaranite.
Yeah.
Solar
Solaranite.
Solaranite.
Solanite.
Solaranite. There's an R in there.
Oh, okay. The quote just says Solanite, but I'll take your word for it.
Maybe he said Solanite sometimes and Solaranite some other times.
That's also entirely possible.
Yeah.
Here's the Solaranite. So what if we do develop this Solanite bomb?
The Solaranite.
So yeah, I kind of alluded to it when we were talking about Glen or Glenda, but I think the part where Eros is going on about like the folly of man is what I feel like could have been what a lot of people like. I don't know what people didn't like about it. Yeah. Was like that sort of post World War II, like we're the good guys and we rule, and this is very. It's like that classic like passionate director that's way over his head, and it's like I feel like this is like him trying to maybe get out what he actually believes, like talking about like the folly of man. It's like you guys just want to create things to destroy them, and you got the atom bomb. But what's next? The hydrogen bomb. And at first I was like, oh, maybe it was the Hays Code stuff, but also the more we talk about it, maybe it was just a bad movie, and I'm trying to give Ed Wood way more credit because Tim Burton got my ass.
Yeah,
I still think it's like I don't know. I still think it's like maybe part of it, but it's hard to like go back to the. What's up?
No, finish what you're saying first.
I don't remember what I was saying.
Okay, I was just gonna say I don't think that I don't want to get into this yet, but I don't necessarily think that the Tim Burton movie is trying to make a case for these being good movies.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think that either.
Okay.
But I think it gives me like an impression. I think it gives me maybe more of a like deeper impression of Ed Wood as just like a ne'er-do-well, happy-go-lucky guy who's like I'm trying to give him more credit than maybe what he deserves for just like a kind of bad science fiction movie.
Yeah, maybe. a kind of pretty bad movie. Like some of the dialogue kind of, especially that the policemen say, just kind of like they say something and then immediately they say the opposite. So I wrote down a couple examples. We found a lot of suspicious things, but nothing to base a fact or suspicion on. And then there's, I'm a policeman. I've got to deal in facts. But I guess I'll have to go along with you. This was a kind of bad movie.
This is like Resident Evil 1 dialogue.
Yeah, really.
And the special effects.
Yeah.
I thought it was more charming than bad, but I get why at the time it, probably was met with uproarious laughter. Because then, like, literally the first shot of the UFO, you can see the string.
Yeah.
In other shots, I feel like it was concealed a little bit better. Like, you didn't see it as prominently.
Yeah.
But, like, this is your first shot of the UFO, and it's literally, like dangling. Yeah. I was like, oh.
In other shots, they definitely pasted them over because it looked exactly like how the birds look in Birdemic. There were some where it's like the same exact like look and effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read in the Wikipedia article that apparently they just like got some UFO toy models from the toy store, and that was just like if you wanted a UFO toy, this was the one you would buy, and that's what they used as the props in the movie with the UFOs.
I don't remember if that was on this or if it was on the show or not, but it's like how like this Sci-Fi Channel movies that use just like Nerf guns painted black for their like weapons. Yeah, I've seen a couple because I have the Nerf guns that they use.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, you would be surprised how many movies like basically like directly do exactly the same shit as like Ed Wood would do.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I see a lot of them on like the Red Letter Media like best of the worst videos, like some of those like B movies from the 80s and like the early 90s. But like you want to talk like cardboard sets with just like whatever they could find as like little dials and buttons for the computer screens. Like shots where you can just see like you can see above the set and you can see like whatever building they're in. Shit like that. And again, part of me finds that stuff like entertaining and charming, but that doesn't mean it's a good movie.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, the dialogue is really unique in that Ed Wood fashion. It's very much how like I feel like Neil Breen probably writes all of his movies in the same sort of very wordy dialogue where it clearly thinks it's smarter than it is. Where like it even ruins some bits that are like kind of like a little clever or like a little good, but it's ruined by being so overly wordy and explanatory. Like the line, I think this is also Eros, where he says, he's like, it's interesting that that the humans who can think are so frightened of those who cannot, the dead. But that's like preceded by like I can't even think about it, but it's like a few lines of him like talking about like, oh, humans can think, the dead can't think. Humans who are alive think, and he says it like a couple times, and then he says that line. But if you take that line on its own, it's like, oh, it's like a good one-liner, right? But there's no one-liners. It's they're seven-liners.
Explain the whole thing first. And then you say it.
Yeah.
No room for nuance.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm ready to.
Yeah.
Rate this movie.
I'm good. Yeah. Same.
I would call this one a spud. I had a really good time.
Nice.
I thought it was really goofy.
Nice.
It was simultaneously an alien movie and a ghost movie and a zombie movie and a vampire movie all in one, and it was just so goofy. And like the policemen at one point are like all get into their police car and then they drive to the cemetery, which is just down the block, and then they get out of the car and go to the cemetery, and it's just, man, it's remarkable that somebody would make a movie this bad. And I loved it. It Plan 9 from outer space. I'm rooting for the aliens, you know. Too bad they got their ships on fire or whatever.
Yeah.
The way that she was like, "Wake up! It's on fire!" She's just like totally helpless. I would say this is a light spud for me. I didn't really laugh a lot. I mean, I guess I kind of had a couple like kind of chortles, kind of chuckles. I did laugh pretty hard when like it revealed the first skeleton and the music was like and I was like, whoa, skeleton jump scare, woo. I actually kind of liked Thor's like makeup and effects. I thought he was really uncanny, like with his like kind of cat eye lenses and like his like blank expression. I was like, oh, okay, that's a little creepy, that's a little uncanny, you know. I appreciated that. And I don't know, I feel like there's a message in here somewhere from Ed Wood in that like dialogue.
Totally.
But it's just like so redundant and repetitive and just not great that it must be painful to be a guy who has a lot to say, but like lacks the tools and ability to like fully say it. And that just seems to be the story of his life. So it's a light spud.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, and it being it's a light spud for me too. It's not one where I'm laughing out loud a whole lot, but I definitely get a lot of chuckles, and it's kind of in the way of like the dud aspects of Glen or Glenda, where I'm just like, it's just fascinating how many errors there are in this movie. And so it's definitely like a good one, you know, if you're a purveyor of shitty movies. It's, you know, is it the worst movie of all time? No, but I think it's like it has also, like, I don't know if I want to say it deserves that reputation, but I think it's earned a spot in kind of the pantheon.
It has like a very big legacy.
Yeah. Like,
and it might have been the worst movie at the time.
Maybe. Yeah. But yeah, it's a nice little I don't know. I'm trying to think of my potato analogy. So, like a diet potato. Zero sugar potato.
Zero sugar spud.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit. A little sweet and low potato.
Sweet and low potato.
Now, the last one in our lineup is not directed by Ed Wood. It's about Ed Wood, and it's called Ed Wood, and it's from 1994.
Magical.
And it's directed by Tim Burton. And I was going to the synopsis here, but it's about Ed Wood. It's a
snapshot.
Yeah, it's a, I don't even know if I want to call it a biopic, because it is so, it's a semi, I don't know how I want to say this. Fuck it, we'll just say it's a biopic about Ed Wood in the period of his life from basically when he made from Glen or Glenda to Plan 9 from Outer Space. So it's kind of why I figured it was a good kind of, you know, picking those two movies to lead into this one. And
good choice.
But it is kind of, the reason I was like avoiding using the word biopic is because it's a different kind of biopic, because I think it is sort of it's viewed not through necessarily like a realistic or fidelitous lens. I think it's a bit more fantastical, not in the way that it's presented, but I think it's like this is Ed Wood's story, kind of like told by Ed Wood. In a way.
I feel like it's almost like a Finding Neverlandification of Ed Wood.
Maybe that, yeah. Also,
where it's like the true story of like the guy from Finding Neverland is probably not
as
super happy as we discussed on that episode. Like all the kids basically either died or killed themselves. Like it was rough. But the movie presents this sort of like larger than life, fantastical, very hopeful and optimistic picture of this guy's life, and I feel like this movie is very similar in that way.
Yeah, it didn't really cover his alcoholism that much.
But
I read a Wikipedia article that he had his paychecks sent directly to the bars that he would go to.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a bummer. It's not, the story's not great.
Yeah.
But I like that. I don't know. I'm okay with that with this movie because of how I felt like it's like I don't think it was trying to present itself as necessarily a true to life biopic where all of this stuff did truly happen exactly how we're presenting it.
Yeah.
And I don't know too much about Ed Wood, like, personally. I know this movie. I've seen this movie before. You know, I've seen Plan 9. I know generally I did know about, like, the alcoholism, but, like, you know, so I guess it may vary depending on how much you know about him and if that changes your opinion on him as a person. But I personally love the angle that the movie takes. This is one of my favorite Tim Burton movies. It's like a top 3 Tim Burton for me. I love this movie.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy this movie.
What are the other 2?
Like Sweeney Todd and Batman. I gotta see Pee-wee's Big Adventure again, because it's been a very long time since I've seen that. So that could maybe be in the top 3.
That's
Nightmare Before
Pee-wee's Big
Christmas
Adventure's
didn't make
a
the
10.
cut, huh?
Nightmare Before Christmas is not a Tim Burton movie. Otherwise, yes. Otherwise, it would be. Yes, yeah.
You're
Nightmare...
lying to me.
I'm not. It's directed by Henry Selick. And I know you'll look it up and it'll say Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's directed by Henry Selick. But no, that one would be in there for sure. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. That movie is like pretty
it was
great.
Produced and conceived by Tim Burton,
Mm-hmm.
but directed by Henry Selick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's got like the stop motion, so you're just like, yeah, it's a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, except that was like the first one that did that, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make The Corpse Bride," and people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, because he made Nightmare Before Christmas, right?" But he fucking didn't.
What a fraud.
Wow, I learned something.
But yeah, I love this movie's depiction of Ed Wood, separate from, you know, how accurate this is or isn't to him as a real person. I love the movie's depiction of him as this, like, plucky, go-getter, super optimistic dude who brings together this band of weird characters to make these terrible movies, but he's so charismatic, and all of these people he attracts all these, you know, Bela Lugosi. He eventually gets Vampira. He has, like, his other friends. He gets Criswell. Like, he gets all these weird, odd people. And, like, I love the shot of them going to the premiere of one of the movies. Maybe it's Bride of the Monster.
Yeah.
And it's, like, all of them packed into this little car. And, like, everybody's so unique. Everybody stands out. They're so... It's so strange. And it's, like... It's a perfect Tim Burton movie because it's, like... It's Tim Burton playing up his Tim Burton style before he gets too heavy-handed with that as he has in the last, like, 10, 20 years. But he's playing up his Tim Burton artsy... I can't think of the word I'm thinking of, but, you know, the Tim Burton style, but it works so well with this content, with the story, with the characters, and, like, the black and white it looks gorgeous. It's a gorgeous black and white movie. I think I love how it's filmed. I love how like, this is what I mean. Like, it's clearly hearkening to and referencing 50s movies, the way that, you know, it uses the Dutch angle a lot, the like flashes of lightning, or, you know, the low, you know, they do like the shots, the establishing shots of LA, and it's clearly a miniature set of Hollywood or whatever.
Cool.
It's equal parts like a love letter to Ed Wood, but also like a love letter to that period of time in Hollywood.
Yeah, and yet it also just feels like that's Tim Burton style. So I think it's this beautiful mesh of what he's referencing or what he's homaging and just how he makes movies anyways. So it's kind of a perfect movie for Tim Burton to make, I think. Okay, I'll cede the floor. That's kind of my general thesis.
Yeah,
I guess.
I think the recency of seeing this makes me want to, like, give Ed Wood the benefit of the doubt and, like, try to find deeper meanings in his movies, because his depiction of, like, Johnny Depp as Ed Wood as, like, the plucky go-getter who, you know, he tries no matter what, and he tries to figure out a way to do it no matter what. And damn it, just because the movie isn't good doesn't mean that he didn't try his best. So I'm just like,
yeah,
It's
always looking
like,
for the light, the silver lining. Like, oh,
yeah,
Really? Worst film you ever saw? Well, my next one will be better.
Yeah.
and it's like he's constantly running into people that will like have like the one little piece of advice that he needs to hear at that given moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like he runs into Bela Lugosi early on, because like there's like I feel like the film doesn't focus on it too long, but there's a few instances where he's like talking to his girlfriend Dolores,
yeah,
and where he's just like you very rarely see him, but he's just like, maybe I don't got it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm no good. And she's like, no, you're good.
Yeah, it was just one review. It was just one guy's opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Like, constantly reaffirmed that, like, no. You should keep doing this. Like, you're good at this. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
And like even like in the biggest like crack in his like veneer of positive attitude. When the church people are like kind of on his ass about like you said that this was gonna be the whole zombie thing though. We believe in the sacredness of graves and like they're basically trying to tell him how to do his movie. You see him crack and he breaks a little bit, and it's like he needs the ultimate advice.
The ultimate advice from Orson Welles.
And who does he run into?
That sounds just exactly like my problems.
It's the damn money men. You never know who's a windbag and who's got the goods. And then they all think they're directors.
Ain't that the truth? Do you know that I've even had producers recut my movies?
I hate when that happens.
But Orson Welles himself. I thought Vincent D'Onofrio's Orson Welles was like pretty good.
Yeah, the voice was incredible.
That was not his voice, by the way.
It didn't sound like it.
No. Apparently Tim Burton
it?
didn't like his impersonation. It's Maurice LaMarche, who you'd know he's the Brain from Pinky and the Brain.
Oh yeah,
that makes sense.
He also voices a lot of characters on Futurama. That's what I associate him most with.
Oh, okay.
He's Kiff from Futurama. That's maybe like the biggest character he plays.
But Vincent D'Onofrio looks like Orson Welles.
He does, yeah.
I thought a lot of the actors that they got to portray those characters from those movies were like it was insane.
Martin Landau. Oh, Criswell, really?
Yeah. I was like, did they get... There's no way they got the same guy, because this is 40 years later.
No, that's Jeffrey Jones from Amadeus.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Wait, what?
He's an Amadeus. He's the emperor in,
The Emperor in Amadeus? Oh,
and there it
God.
is. That guy.
And what is he in Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
He's the principal.
Yeah. The guy who's like hunting him the whole time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whoa, I'm seeing it in my mind's eye right now. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, no, and some of this is, of course, the makeup and prosthetics, which this won an Oscar for. But
really,
but Martin Landau is so fucking like perfect as Bela Lugosi. It's just so good. That's like a really, really like special performance. I think he's fantastic, and he also won an Oscar for this too.
Did he? Yeah, I could see that.
Well deserved, in my opinion. And also I love the relationship of Ed and Bella. And then Ed and Kathy also. Like there's a pretty touching moment where they get stuck in that like the little carnival ride, and then he's like, well, I never told a girl this on the first date, but I really like you, so I think we should get us out of the way. And he says that he likes to dress in women's clothing, and she's like, well, that's all right.
Okay. Okay.
and then the ride starts up again, and they like put their, they lean their heads.
Yeah,
on
no,
each other
it was like the
really
perfect
sweet.
timing of the ride kicking back on. They're like, yeah, proceed. It's okay.
But yeah, but I really like their relationship, but I think Ed and Bella that's like the heart and soul of this movie, I think. And I love how they're both these outsiders on different ends of the Hollywood spectrum. One of them he's past his prime. He was famous.
Right.
The other one is starting out and trying to become famous and failing. So there are these two outsiders and just supporting each other all along the way throughout their troubles and issues and stuff. And I just think it's really sweet. It's a really sweet and like heartwarming in a way.
I want to thank you again for last night.
It's fine, Eddie. All in the line of duty.
No, I want you to know how much I appreciate all you've done for me. A great man like yourself shouldn't have to be wandering through the muck at 4 a.m.
Well, there are not a lot of fellas I do it for.
And then you get the epitaph at the end that Ed died a penniless alcoholic at the age of 54. But in the movie, it's very like cute and heartwarming in a way.
Yeah. I was like, and again, I don't know how much of it is Tim Burton movie magic and how much of it is like based on like, the real events of Ed Wood's life, but like I was feeling pretty emotional when you got to see like kind of like the context of some of the like stock footage of Bela Lugosi that Ed shot.
Yeah.
Of him coming out of the house and like picking up the flower, and then just I don't know, just like the portrait that it painted of, this trying to get clean addict.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
like Ed's just trying to shoot it, and he's like, I don't exactly know what they were trying to say that Ed's intent was with that. But then Bella's like, oh, what if I'm reminiscent of my wife's scent, so I smell her flowers that she planted. And Ed's like, yeah, go ahead and do that. Like, I think he's just trying to do something nice for Bella when he thinks that he's like, doesn't
to make him feel important again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then after they get chased out of the movie theater, and Bella tells him that like the last few days have been like some like the best days of his life or whatever. It's really touching in a way, I think.
Yeah. This was kind of a mind-blowing movie to me, cause after having, I'm really glad that I watched Plan 9 and
Glen and Glenda.
Glen and Glenda before I watched this one, because to be able to kind of see in context, like, oh, like that's the movie he was making during this time of the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was able to get the references, and I kind of wished I had seen Bride of the Monster too.
Yeah. I forgot how like prominent that one was.
Yeah.
In this, yeah.
It's supposed to be Bride of the Atom.
Yeah.
Oh, another nuclear one.
Yeah.
I like it. I loved Bela Lugosi double fisting two dogs.
Yeah.
like when he first meets him and he's hanging out with him. He's like, "Oh, my wife left me, and I'm not much of a housekeeper, but you can come in." And then like watching something on TV, and he's just. It made me think of like the episode of Joe Pera when he's talking about rocks, and the whole episode he's holding the two rocks like this. But I was like, I just wanted Bela to like, oh, I have to go get something in my kitchen, and he would have just got up with his two dogs and just walked her.
Yeah, I think he's got like all like the best like bits or lines in the movie too. I think come from Bela, like when the guy has him like sign a thing and he's like, Karlov. Fuck you. That shit, or when he's wrestling with the octopus in the pool or whatever.
Yeah.
It's pretty great too. The whole like build up of that, like they get the octopus and then he's like, okay, now turn it on, and they're like, what? And he's like,
oh, somebody forgot the motor. And he's like, so just grab the arms and make it seem like it's trying to kill you. And, you know, Bella does it because Ed's his friend, you know.
Yeah.
Even though he is this kind of somewhat prideful old school Hollywood actor, he does it for his friend. After drinking a few swigs of whiskey.
Well, yeah, and shooting himself up with morphine.
Yeah. There is this underlying when you know, and I don't know, maybe people didn't know that when this movie came out. I'm sure this movie probably maybe helped Ed Wood's like popularity rise a little bit more. I'm sure like in the underground, you know, people knew about Plan 9 and stuff, but this probably kind of helped elevate him a little bit. But maybe they didn't know about his private life. But if you do know about that and you know about Bela Lugosi too, there is this underlying tragedy to the whole thing that kind of adds a little bit of weight to the, but in a sense it adds a weight.
You mean? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like Bella's was also like, you know, poor. He was losing money. He was poor. He was an addict. And then Ed was pretty much the same thing later in his life. So it adds this tragedy to the movie, but also it helps elevate the sweetness of their relationship of just like trying to support each other. I don't know. That's the way that I view it, at least. It feels very genuine. It's just about two guys who love what they're doing and they're trying to keep doing it, or I don't know. And like after Bella, like Ed goes to his house and Bella's like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself, and then he's like, he's like, you want to come with me? And he like puts the gun under his chin or whatever. Yeah, and then he like kind of he has his moment of clarity, and then he's like, he like falls down and he kind of like breaks down, and Ed immediately is like, it's okay, let's go like get you some help.
Yeah.
Like it's just instantly supporting him. That's Ed's like instinct is just I need to help my friend type thing.
Yeah.
And then
and even in like kind of a morbid way, it's like Bela was like, no, come with me. I mean, it was like a murder suey.
Yeah.
But it's like he still wanted his friend Ed Wood to come with him. We don't have to worry about anything anymore.
And then even after he like, I don't know if it's the church guys that ask him like, oh, isn't it a little messed up to use like the footage of Bella in your new movie? And then Ed's like, no, he would have loved it. And I think that could come off as Ed just doing his little showman, like salesman, like,
yeah,
right.
But I think he's also being honest. I think he
knew
Bella
him well enough at that point where he was like, yeah, he would think this is cool or fun.
Yeah,
the Bella in the movie anyway.
Right. I am speaking of the characters here.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Because like I said, I do think this is kind of like a heightened reality, I guess. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the real life version, though, apparently there was somebody between Dolores and Kathy named Norma McCarty. Did you guys read this on his Wikipedia page?
No.
She was the airplane stewardess in Plan 9.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And they got married.
Oh.
And then and it was like at a cast party, he like surprise got married at the cast party. He had a preacher and a wedding cake there. And then 1 month later, Norma McCarty found out that Wood was a cross-dresser, and then ended the marriage because of that.
Jesus.
Damn.
At least according to Wikipedia, anyway.
Yeah, they all
legally divorced. Fun fact.
Yeah. They all lived to be like 80 or 90 years old too. They were all old as shit.
The women?
His first girlfriend And I mean, they do that. They say it at the end of the movie. She was like a songwriter and went on to write like 2 songs for Elvis.
Yeah.
Which is like insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that she wasn't thrilled with how she was portrayed in the movie.
Yeah, she seemed much more like. She's like, no, I didn't. It wasn't that he was a cross-dresser that bummed me out. It was like the alcoholism, which again, the movie does not really take a lot of time. Doesn't take any time at all, really, except for like the very end to like sort of address. Like, there's a few scenes where he goes to a bar, but it's it's I mean, it's just treated as like, he went to a bar. It's not like an addiction, you know.
I think the movie, I don't necessarily think that she's like a villain in a sense, except that she is a bit like homophobic, I guess. But she's also kind of just like her you know, big like eruption when she finally like breaks up with him is just like, you know, you people are insane. You're making shitty movies, and like, it's like she's right, like, you know.
You're wasting your life making shit. Nobody cares. These movies are terrible.
To me, she just seems like somebody who, she does have an issue with the cross-dressing in the movie, but also like I think she just wants to. She gets frustrated by just him being bad at what he does, you know, like there's the bit where she's in Bride of the Atom, and then he's like, you know, he says the line that he says every time, where like, that was perfect, and she's like, yeah, of course it was, and then she like stomps off, like,
yeah,
and he gave away her part too.
That was
shitty.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because the actress who plays Loretta is Juliet Landau, who is the daughter of the guy who plays Bela Lugosi.
Yep. Interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I gotta say, this is a total like sidebar, but I think of it anytime I think of Martin Landau, because I feel like I can picture it perfectly. But Kalia's dad is from LA. That's where he was like born and grew up. And he apparently when he was a young man in like the 70s, I think this is around when it was 70s or 80s, I think. He apparently was driving and he cut off Martin Landau. And Martin Landau's response was to pull up beside him and do this. And then
thumbs down.
Speed off. And I think about it every time, especially in this, because he constantly has that like look, the frowny
the Lugosi
face.
scowl. Oh my god, that's so good.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah,
that's something to remember.
Yeah,
that's a key memory right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought this was a good this is like as a 100th episode movie, this is a good one, because you have like a lot of people from Duds, like past Duds movies. You have Johnny Depp in the lead. But then there's also Mike Starr, who we just saw in Miller's Crossing. He's George Weiss in this, and he's the one. He's the one that he like punches, you know, Jesus Tom.
That's right. That's, man, there's so many guys in this that I recognize.
Patricia Arquette.
He was also in an episode of The Office.
Oh, okay.
Mike Starr is?
Yeah, as the mafia guy that they think he's actually an insurance salesman, but they think he's the mafia.
Oh, okay.
And then there's Patricia Arquette from Dream Warriors.
That's right.
Jeffrey Jones from Amadeus, and then Orson Welles from F for Fake.
Right.
I think there's a couple more too, but I noticed this had a lot of our old friends.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
We should look at that.
And also it's a good one, because I think I think there's a line late into the movie that I think is words for us to live by. And this Ed Wood says this. He says,
"Filmmaking is not about the tiny details. It's about the big picture."
The big picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all about vibes.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Moose, was this the movie with the misogyny that you wanted to talk about? Or was that Plan 9 that we missed it?
Yeah, just that line about women liking horror movies because it reminds them of childbirth.
Okay.
Just kind of was a little off-putting to me.
But it's like the perfect, like, Bela Lugosi, who's been Dracula for so long that he doesn't even know where Bela Lugosi ends and Dracula begins.
Yeah.
So I feel like he just
starts out the movie lying down in a coffin.
Yeah, he's full of those little, like, yes, the women, they like the blood and they like the movies because of the blood. And you're like, yeah, all right, dude. Sure.
I can't even fold my arms.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie also had the idea that, like, you're not really a woman until you have bottom surgery, like with
Bunny.
Oh, yeah, the Bill Murray character, yeah.
Bill Murray's character. And you're like, I'm finally become a woman when I go to Mexico. Oh, didn't go to Mexico, so I guess I'm still a man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
if it weren't for this mariachi band, I would be dead.
Yeah.
I feel like in that scene, even one
wild.
of the mariachi guys like started laughing. Like one of them smiled, and I was like, "Is he laughing at this line of dialogue because it's so insane?"
I forgot to mention Bill Murray. I love Bill Murray in this movie. I think it's such a at least for the time, probably kind of like an out there role for Bill Murray to play, like essentially a trans woman or wanting to be a trans woman.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I think he just plays it so well. I love the apathy that Bunny has about just everything. When they're getting baptized.
Do you reject Satan and all his evils? Sure.
Is perfect delivery. It's so good. And yeah, it's just I feel like there's a an MCU tie-in movie about Bunny Breckenridge. He seems like such an interesting character to me.
Yeah.
A bit that I like playing with the black and white-ness of the movie.
Oh.
You know the part I'm thinking of with the...
Which dress works better for you, the red one or the green one?
Which one is the red one?
What do you mean?
I mean, I can't see the difference. I'm colorblind. But I kind of like the dark gray one.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else? I feel like I'm talking a lot. I obviously
no,
like this
you're
movie
good.
a lot.
I'm simultaneously tired, and I've had a few drinks, and I've forgotten everything that I've ever thought about this movie.
Yeah.
Despite having just seen it, I did commit the cardinal David Lynch sin.
Did you watch this on your phone?
I did. I watched part of it on my phone. I got out of work and we were going to go to the gym, and I was like, shit, I got to watch this movie. It's 2 hours long. So I started it at the gym.
Wow.
I got like 45 minutes into it, and then I was like, I'll finish it at home.
I
bought the Plex app.
You bought
because
it?
So it had this horseshit like
oh yeah.
Yeah, you can watch it for free like on the Apple TV app.
Yeah.
But it's like in order to like access the library
That
on
shit's
like the
such
phone app, you have
bullshit.
to like pay I was like, it's $4.99, whatever. Now I have that whole library available on my phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did do that.
Wow. Shame.
I know. I was like
Shame on you,
watching it, and I was like, please no nudity in the first like 40 minutes. Please no nudity in this. I don't want to be like on the treadmill and just like someone's getting railed out. But luckily it was pretty tame in that regards. I thought the shot that they recreated of from Glen or Glenda, where she takes off like and hands it to him. I thought that shot was like absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I know it's like the movie. It's like one of the movie posters. Like if you look it up, that's like one of the main images. But like the way that they handled that and did that, I was like, hot damn, that's so good.
Yeah. I mentioned this like at the top, but I love the cinematography in this. I think it's like, it's maybe this is more just playing up, it's Tim Burton's kind of contrasty style, but it looks so good in black and white.
Yeah.
The colors or lack thereof, I think really pop, like the blacks and whites. I think it's a very pretty looking movie for a black and white one.
And it is funny to like take the works of Ed Wood and his like limited cinematography ability and just like make an incredibly gorgeous movie about a dude who didn't seem to really know all that much about making movies.
That's pretty great.
And like,
I think it would have been funny if they had shot it like as a bad movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the ending, like it still like bummed me out that it was just like, yeah, this is the one they're gonna remember me by. And it's like
it's
very bittersweet.
That's a good like encapsulation of what I mean about the movie as a whole. It's because that bit where he's sitting there and miming along with the lines in the movie as he always has done, and then this is it, this is the one they're gonna remember me for. It's simultaneously like heartwarming and like heartbreaking, because like he's currently in like this moment of ecstasy, but you as a viewer know what it actually means and what actually is going to happen. So it's like and that's kind of how I feel about like the whole that's kind of how I feel about like the whole kind of gist of the movie, him and Bella, and especially like those two.
It's like in that moment, like life is so good. And you almost just want to like stay in that moment. But everything happens, and it was kind of like rough, like the way that it ended on that sort of semi high note, and then it's just like he died of alcoholism. Like, oh.
Whoops.
Man.
The one, I guess, nice thing is that like it said that like Kathy like stayed married. He at least he found love in a sense. I guess that's victory. She stayed loyal, it said, and she was supportive or at least accepting of his like lifestyle. I read a thing. It was like a trivia thing on the IMDb. Actually, like if you go down the trivia list on IMDb, all of them are like, that's really cute. That's really cute. And one of them was that there was a day where Kathy Wood came to set to visit, and it was a day where like the scene they were shooting, Johnny Depp was looking like he looked bad, like they were like kind of like messing him up to look. I'm not sure exactly. Sorry, I've got beer burps. But they said that it was like a day that he looked like messed up. So some scene where he's all like frazzled or haggard or whatever, and like Tim Burton was worried that she was gonna like take offense to it, or like that they were making like a not great like picture of him kind of thing. But it said that like when she saw Johnny Depp come out of his trailer, she said, "That's my Eddie." And aww. I thought that was really sweet.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And then I don't know. Like I said, they're all sweet. I guess Tim Burton said that he was drawn to this picture because he related to Ed Wood and Bela Lugosi's relationship, like his own relationship with Vincent Price late in his life.
Yeah.
Because he had Vincent Price was in like Edward Scissorhands and stuff, and
Yeah, Vincent Price is like a really cool guy too. He because he expanded beyond movies, and he did stuff in like the musical realm too, like notably Michael Jackson's Thriller, and also Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of I've heard that Vincent Price was he was one of those dudes who was just, even like late in his life when he was kind of he had kind of cemented his legacy, he was still just like kind of down to do stuff, like I don't think there's many old school Hollywood actors that would like guest voice on a Michael Jackson record. They'd be like, oh, that pop music, that's not rock and roll. That's not my music, kind of thing.
I don't think I know Vincent Price. I'm looking at a Wikipedia article and I don't recognize any of these movies.
He has a very distinctive voice.
I have not seen Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, okay.
Scissorhands. Sorry,
he's
I went 1, 2, 3, 4.
He's
number 5.
He's Egghead in the Adam West Batman, where he just endlessly makes egg-related puns.
I haven't seen that movie either.
Vincent Price is one of those guys where, like, if you've heard him, he has a voice that is very distinctive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Like kind of one of those old Hollywood voices.
Thriller?
I have heard the song Thriller.
He's the guy that he like during the breakdown. He's like, the midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
That is a distinctive voice.
I honestly I don't know like what his defining movie is though. If you're asking, like, I can't be like, oh well, you've seen this, but I just thought maybe Edward Scissorhands because it was a more recent one, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he has like the movie that people know him for. Maybe House on Haunted Hill. I don't know.
I've seen Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah. I think it's my turn.
Yeah.
To start. Yeah.
Normal scale, right? This is not a dud.
This
movie.
is normal scale. Yes. This is a normal scale movie. Yeah. I don't know. I talked the bulk of this. I don't think I really have to recap. You know my feelings. Yeah. I love it. It's a 9 for me. I think it's
9.
It's fantastic. Yep, one of Burton's best. IMO. Great cast. Great performances. Like I said, heartwarming while also tragic at the same time.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of like, even though it is clearly not realistic, it's kind of seems like the best way to tell the story. I don't know. Not that I would be interested in, I guess, more like a straight up biopic of Ed Wood, but I still feel like I wouldn't be as good as this in my opinion.
Yeah. I would I prefer this version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works. It works. It feels like this is an Ed Wood movie and it's a Tim Burton movie, and it just
Yeah, and that's kind of why I'm like I think I'm at an 8 on this one. I also I liked it a lot. Surprisingly, like heartwarming and heartbreaking in a lot of ways. I thought a lot of care went into finding actors to portray like historical counterparts in like an incredible way. The dude who played Tor Johnson was like, I could not believe how similar those two dudes looked to each other. But I feel like it.
He's also a wrestler too. That guy. Yeah.
I guess guys of a certain body type. I guess that's really the only avenue you have in life. It's weird because on one hand, like the OG Ed Wood movies are mostly a mixed bag and mostly kind of bad, but man, this movie really makes you want to root for Ed Wood and really makes you want to find those little nuggets of goodness in his movies and like really like see the optimism and like, yeah, well, he's trying.
Yeah.
It's bad, but it's still charming. And I think even with Glen or Glenda and like Plan 9, which have like, you know, some pretty low lows, you know, watching it with Tim Burton's Ed Wood in mind, you're like, yeah, but they tried. And like he's a guy who loves movies. So it's like, how bad can it really be? And I feel like they really captured the ethos of that. And I think Johnny Depp plays a very good, I mean, from limited, you know, stuff of what I've seen of Ed Wood, he's very teethy. He talks, he's very like very teethy performance. But you know, I thought Johnny Depp was like fantastic, and the supporting cast is really, really good too throughout the whole thing. So that's an 8 for me, dog.
Nice. What you've been saying kind of reminds me of The Greatest Showman. You remember that movie?
Yeah, I never saw it, but I'm aware of it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and he's like kind of gathers this like
ragtag group
characters. Yeah, these circus performers that are kind of outcasts from society and stuff. And he takes Bella, who's like been an outcast from Hollywood after he's like reached like past his peak, you know. And then he gets Criswell, who's like always making these wrong predictions about the future. You know, you just kind of like, and then he gets Tor, who doesn't know how to act, and he just kind of like brings all these people towards him. That don't really have anywhere else like to go. And I think that's pretty cool. That's a cool thing to watch in a movie. I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10. I liked it a lot. I had a good time. I don't think it's gonna be like one of my favorite movies. Sorry, I kind of slurred my speech there. It's hard to focus right now.
It is, it's getting there.
It's pretty late.
Is that why it's been like a TJ centric episode? Is because am I not? Do I need to drink a little bit more?
Yeah, you gotta catch up.
Drinking. I only have one more. I'll get through it before the episode's over. I'll try to. Here, I'll slam this one and crack this one while you're wrapping up.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. TJ. Yeah, so 7 out of 10. This is definitely in the category of movies that I would watch again, for sure.
Yeah,
cool. What's
and also it made me want to watch Plan 9 again and Glen or Glenda.
With like knowing kind of more
context.
Yeah,
totally.
I think that was so much. That's what I like so much about watching it in the order that I did. Is like I have those movies for context, and then to see how well Tim Burton like recreated them too. Which like they're shitty cardboard sets, whatever, but like capturing that spirit and like the vibe of those movies.
The spirit, the vibe.
I do in a sense wish we had done Bride of the Monster, since that is featured so prominently in this. But I am glad that we did Glen or Glenda and Plan 9, because I feel like if we did Bride of the Monster and Plan 9, we would have just been talking about the same movie like twice. Just do like bad sci-fi movies.
Glen or Glenda seems to be like kind of an outlier, something a little more interesting, a little more meat on the bones.
Yeah, for sure.
Big time. It Glen or Glenda is a thing all to itself.
Yeah.
That not really a good movie, but not really a dud either.
Yeah. Cool. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this one. What's your favorite Tim Burton movie, Moose? I think yours is Pee-wee's Big Adventure, right, Nick?
I would, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen all of them, but I think, man, I saw Pee-wee in a theater, and it was so goddamn funny. Like I did not stop laughing throughout the entire movie. It's so perfect.
You know, I don't know if I've seen a bunch of Tim Burton movies.
Oh, okay.
Like I've been meaning to watch Edward Scissorhands.
I've never seen Edward
Sweeney
Scissorhands.
Todd.
I've seen Sweeney Todd.
Another kind of unsung one that I really like is Frankenweenie. That's
is that another stop motion one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when that one came out.
He doesn't have many good movies after Ed Wood, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
But there's Sweeney Todd and Frankenweenie. Those are his best sense, I would say.
I feel like what everyone accuses Wes Anderson of doing is kind of what actually happened to like Tim Burton.
Yeah. Yes. Like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or the Alice in Wonderland movies, just super playing into that. Like, I can't think of the fucking word I'm thinking of. I'm gonna look up Cabinet.
Oh, Frankenweenie's 2012 though.
Yeah, that's I was saying. There are a couple
it's
like Sweeney Todd
like
and
rare.
Frankenweenie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Big Fish was after Ed Wood. Big Fish is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and I guess Nightmare Before Christmas, which doesn't count. And I guess now Ed Wood. So
okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of Big
I was just curious because of your reaction when I said that it was like in my top 3 of his or whatever. He's not even a director. I'm not like a lot of millennials, I think, are like they love Tim Burton. You know, that he's one of the things like, yeah. I'm not quite that, but he does have a few movies that I do adore, like the ones that I mentioned.
Huh.
Yeah. Beetlejuice is good too.
Watch him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beetlejuice is another one. I think there was a Tim Burton cameo in Ed Wood.
Oh yeah.
I think there's like a scene where I think Tim Burton is like one of the cross-dressers.
Oh, okay.
I think when they're initially like
casting for Glen or Glenda or whatever.
Yeah, I think Tim Burton is one of them. There's like a cross-dresser with like his signature like frizzy curly hair, and I think it's even like whoever it is, like he's wearing sunglasses too.
Interesting.
So I think he was in it.
Did you guys, since you're mentioning cameos, did you guys catch George Walcott in it? From
I don't know if I know who that is.
He's the lead guy in Plan 9.
He's the pilot
with the dead face.
Oh, he was in this movie?
Yeah, he's one of the. It's like I think it's the second time they go to the Brown Derby to try to get backers.
Yeah.
For the movie, and he's the one. They're like talking to him, and then he's like, "Oh, what about Vampira? Is she gonna be in it?"
Oh, I didn't realize that was the same guy.
Yeah. And then apparently one of the cops from Plan 9 is like the bartender in the Orson Welles scene. I didn't catch him, but I saw that in the trivia.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very nice.
Cool. Nice.
I'm excited for these games that you have for us.
Yes. Yeah, it's episode 100, so we're gonna do a little. I set up a couple. It's gonna be 3 different. So originally I was just gonna do some trivia.
Okay.
And then I checked our like post discussion doc today. I saw you guys hadn't like added anything, so I was like, okay, they're probably not gonna do any bits. So I'm like, okay. And then so I added 2 more things. So I cut down my trivia section. Like I cut out a few questions so it's not as long. And then I added 2 more. So it'll be like 3 separate games in like the trivia in the trivia realm, I guess. So yeah, and we'll just do points, and then winner gets I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Bragging rights.
Bragging rights. That
for episode 150, I'll have to defend their title.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. So
First one is just going to be straight up trivia. I think I did limit it to episodes that Moose has been on.
Okay. Yeah,
or,
fair enough.
Related. I was originally just going to do like questions about like stuff we like said on the pod or stuff kind of like that, or like statistical things. Or trivia about the movies. I couldn't really get enough questions on each thing, so it's kind of a mix. There's some stuff that's like about the movies, about the podcast, and so on and so forth. Okay,
nice. All right.
So, first question is: are we friends? 30 seconds. All right. The correct answer is yes. So you guys both got it. You said yes, but only technically. I'll still take it.
Awesome.
What's the word for when one person thinks they're friends but the other person is like we're acquaintances? Okay. Okay. I'll still give you a point. I feel like that was some kind of dig, but okay. Next one. Are we best friends? Am I your best friend? Sorry. Just answer the question. Okay. Nick said probably. Moose said no. So Nick gets a point, but I'll give Moose a point for being honest. So.
Oh, what is this?
Okay, all right. Now we're past the goofs.
Oh, the preliminary rounds.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is a show trivia question. What was the first movie to get a 10, and who gave it the 10? And I'm gonna say we're going like from when we recorded them, not necessarily from, because like the first few we released later as like vault episodes. We're gonna go from like so to us, Cats is our first episode onward. All right. Honestly, I had like a question or two that was kind of leaning toward, like I gave like one or two that was like an advantage towards one of each of you.
Yeah.
And this one is for Moose. But he didn't get it. Moose
Did I get it?
No.
I gave it a 10?
No. Moose said the Korean one about the train. Is that Chungking Express?
Yeah.
And he said Travis gave it a 10. No, Travis hated that movie.
Travis did not like it.
The correct answer is East of Eden, Moose.
I knew it.
And
yes.
Oh, that's right. I loved that movie.
And Nick got that.
Damn.
Oh man, I really had to, because I was like Amadeus, but I was like, no. We had like a weird knockout, drag out, blowout about East of Eden.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had. Did we end up cutting a bunch of shit
we did.
in that episode?
Like 30 minutes,
yeah, a lot.
I was like so adamant that's a really important movie.
We were talking circles around each other.
It was about a specific bit. I re-listened to like all of these episodes, so it's fresher in my head. But we kept the gist of the argument, but then I think we just kind of repeated ourselves for the next like 45 minutes.
Like, specifically me and Travis, just kind of going after. Like,
each
other. Wow, I remember that now. That's crazy.
Okay, and now, according to the East of Eden episode, Moose says it's his favorite. It's his second favorite movie after what? So Moose claimed that, and this is another one that's advantage Moose. But he claims that it's his second favorite movie after what? Okay. Nick says Transformers.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know.
The
You're gonna say it, I'm gonna be so mad.
The correct answer, which Moose gave, is The Princess Bride.
Yep, that makes sense. Son of a bitch.
That's something for everybody in the family. Fantasy, adventure.
Good Christmas
There's
morning
pirates.
movie. I found.
Yeah.
We watched that one Christmas morning, and like it's not really a Christmas movie, but the vibe of it was just like perfect.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that
try it out.
next
Yeah.
time.
Who directed the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie? Moose says Alexander Hamilton. Nick has the full correct answer with Wes Craven D's nuts. So
yeah, Wes Craven, who very famously did not direct Scream 5 because he's dead.
Yeah. And now a little bit of trivia question about the one that we did watch. Name any two of the Dream Warriors' dream powers.
Oh man.
So Moose said friendship and blasting through walls. Nick said being conventionally attractive and being a boxer/fighter. So you both are close, but I can't give it to you because it would only be one anyways. You guys are both thinking of Kincaid, who had like super strength.
That's right.
Also, Joey, who had like the super voice because he couldn't speak in like the waking world, so he had like a super strong voice. Will was the Wizard Master. That's why I made it 2 powers because I thought you guys were gonna remember Wizard Master, but
nope.
Kristen, who flips. Her powers are she flips.
That's right.
And then
gymnastics.
Yeah, and then Taryn, who's beautiful and bad.
That's right.
Oh wow. Crazy.
Okay. Who? Okay, how do I want to do this one? Okay, this is a 2-parter, and I guess I'll offer a point for each part.
Okay.
So, who has appeared on the fewest episodes of the original 4 of us? So me, us 3, and Travis. And then the second part is, how many episodes was that person on? Has that person been on?
Oh, jeez.
How do you want to, like, within 5 either way. Like, I'll give you like a buffer of 5. Okay. So you both got Moose right.
Nice.
Moose said that it was 13 episodes. Nick said it was 18. So both wrong on that front. It's 26.
26. Okay.
Yeah.
I was almost thinking like 25.
Oh. Honestly,
how many months is that?
Honestly,
if it's 26 weeks,
I thought. I mean, this is including like. I don't know if I counted this one, but I counted, the last like Memento. So I was doing it recent.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I actually thought it was gonna be a lot closer between Moose and Travis, but Travis is at like 50. He's done like 50 episodes. Yeah, I thought that the numbers there was gonna be way closer.
Because Brawl in Cell Block 99 was the last Travis episode up until Kung Pao.
Right. Yeah.
And that was like 49, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. No, it had to have been after 50, because he was on episode 50.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. This will be multiple choice. Don't worry. The next 2 will be multiple choice. So which director has had the most movies featured on the show?
Oh, I know this one.
Do you?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say I'd be interested in seeing what your answers were without the multiple choice, but okay. So we have Lana Wachowski, Bong Joon-ho, Gore Verbinski, or Akira Kurosawa. Moose said Bong Joon-ho. Nick said Lana Wachowski. It is Lana Wachowski.
Because there's 4 Matrix movies.
Yep. And it's also Gore Verbinski. He also had 4.
Rango, and then the 3 Pirates.
Yep. And then Bong Joon-ho and Akira Kurosawa both have 3.
Yeah. I just remember there being a lot of Korean films.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, why did I sign up to this podcast to watch a bunch of Korean films?
Because they're
Great
good
subtitles.
All right. And now, which actor has appeared in the most movies? Be aware there could be some Jeffrey Jones in here who have like been in, so this is with the caveat that I could be technically wrong. There could be somebody who has been in more just as like smaller roles, but Carrie Ann Moss, Johnny Depp, Jimmy Stewart, or Nicolas Cage. You both got it. I mean, it doesn't really matter if I give you guys the point or not. But I was technically writing this before this episode.
Yeah.
So him being in Ed Wood ties Johnny Depp with Carrie Ann Moss, who prior to this episode, Carrie Ann Moss is our number one.
Interesting.
Because she was in...
What was Carrie Ann Moss in?
She was in Memento, and then she was in 5 Matrix movies. She's in the 4, and she's also in the Animatrix.
That's right. Interesting.
Yep. So
I forgot about that.
I'll give you guys the point because it doesn't matter anyway because you guys both got it.
That's so kind of you.
Yeah. It is. Okay. Okay, let's do this one next. When was the novel The Life of Pi published? According to Moose.
Oh.
According to Moose in the close-up episode.
According to me?
What?
Don't Google it.
I'm not.
I don't know if this is exactly what Moose was saying, but I'll. So Nick said 2009. I'll give this one to Moose. 2001, same as 9/11, because it came out on September 11th, 2001.
I almost said 2001 because of 9/11. God damn it! I should have gone with my gut. Should have gone with my gut.
Did I really say that? Is that not when the movie came out?
No, it is. I'm not saying that you made it up, but
it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Wow.
But you associated it with 9/11.
Yeah. Okay. What did TJ and Travis miss out on by watching the theatrical cut of Amadeus? For an extra point, include at least 2 adjectives. So, you both got the nips, the titties, right? I can't give you boisterous and sensual, Moose. I'm sorry. I can give Nick conical and puffy because those are right. I would have also accepted Constanza's classic 80s puffy nips.
Puffy, I remember that now.
All right. What's our preferred source for learning about bad guys in movies? I had to be a little vague with this. It's like what? It's a website. I'll say that. Okay, so the answer is villains.fandom.com.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I'll give Nick a half a point, and Moose got it, so he gets a full point.
Yes.
Damn nice. Okay.
What was Moose's original rating scale called as coined in the Cats episode?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I know this.
Really?
Oh, I remember this very well.
I like that. No, it's not the antlers.
Okay.
Nick got this with Dope or Nope.
Dope or Nope?
Yeah, I remember that very well.
Man, that's a deep cut. Incredible. Well done, Nick.
Name 4 of the 6 members of Dragon Sound. And a bonus point if you can name all 6. But I don't think you can. And you can't just rifle off 20 names. You can give me 6 names max. And I'll count. Because I'll give you a little bit of a hint if you don't remember. You could just search up like 20 most popular baby names and they'd probably all be on there. Oh, I thought.
I'm confident about one of them.
Which one?
Jason.
Nope.
Damn it.
Nick got 0.
Yes.
Moose got 1 with Joseph.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. I think that's the name of one of the actors. No, the answers, the names are Mark, Jim, John, Jack, Tom, and Jane.
How did I
Damn.
Tom? That's embarrassing.
And then last one for this section. And again, the other ones will be shorter. What was the original title of this show?
What? There was another one?
It was before we had kind of decided to turn it into a podcast, when it was just a humble Twitch stream. It is not Bad Movies Are Us. It is Friday Night Movie Club.
Either that or we were toying around with the idea of like, I've heard of that. I remember was another name that we were kind of tossing around.
Yeah, we had a lot of like kind of non-committal names like.
Yeah, I'm glad we settled on ThereWillBeDuds.
Yeah, I think it's a good name. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next game, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
This is the one I came up with today, and it was based on, as I was like listening to our old episodes and appreciating Moose's bastardizations of movie titles, like referring to before sunrise as before lunchtime. Was one that he did. So I came up with a few. I only have a few of these, so this won't be too long. If I had more time to think, I would have. But these are all ones that. These are all also ones that, like, you know, episodes that we're all on or whatever.
Okay.
They don't all necessarily follow that same formula either.
Yeah.
So just bear with me. I think this one I'm gonna have you guys buzz in. So just say your name or whatever.
Okay.
And then I'll give you the floor. If you get it wrong, I guess I won't have a penalty, but then the other person will have the floor to think, I guess.
Okay.
So the first one I'm going to do is one coined by Moose. The rest are ones that I came up with. So the first one is the Pennsylvania newspaper.
Oh, I got this one. It's oh shit. That's Philadelphia Story.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
that is.
Yep. I'll give you
the
that one.
Pennsylvania newspaper.
I remember that.
Okay. And they're not necessarily, like, what I mean is, like, they're not necessarily gonna, like, how that was, like, 3 words, one, like, how similar that was. I didn't necessarily follow that same.
So did you moosify some movie titles?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh,
Tight. That's awesome. I love that.
Okay. So the first one is Bad Dream on Scary Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did add the subtitle of Sleep Fighters.
Sleep Fighters. Okay.
Fighters.
Zoom In.
Run Lola Run.
Zoom. Are you saying
Close
zoom
up.
in or zoom
Yeah, it's
in?
close up. Yeah.
Oh, should I not guess after I've already gotten a wrong one?
Technically not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna guess close up.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
no way.
Harold.
Harry. I don't fucking know.
No, this is the bunny.
Oh, I got it. I know it.
Why can't I think of his name?
I'll give you like 10 more seconds.
I'm Jimmy Stewart, and this is my bunny.
3.
Just say it, Moose.
2.
Just say it.
Harvey. It's
Yeah,
Harvey.
Harvey.
Yep. All right. Florida Project.
Why does this sound so familiar? Well, I know the Florida Project is a movie.
Mm-hmm. I felt pretty clever when I.
Movies with states in their names. Florida Project. God damn.
The only thing that's coming to mind is Burn Notice, which is a
That's
TV show set in Florida.
No.
About
This is a tough one.
Anything?
No.
Give you guys a little bit more time.
It's 100 of these suckers. It's hard to.
Only 26. Because I'm narrowing the ones that was. Yeah. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's not another state, but it's a city within Florida. I asked you guys a question about it already. It's Miami Connection. Yeah.
Miami Connection.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Damn.
Go Dog Go.
Oh, that's
Barking
Run
Dogs
Lolo
Never
Run.
Bite.
It's Run Lolo Run.
Oh.
Barking Dogs is a good guess, though.
Yeah. And then the last one is Piano Man.
Say Piano Man?
Yeah.
Is that Amadeus?
Yeah, it's Amadeus.
Okay.
I was gonna say harpsichord entrepreneur. I don't know why. That's where I went. But I could think of anything else.
It might have been a little confusing. That's why I was trying to emphasize that like they don't all follow the same like sound the movie title.
One per word.
Yeah, I consider myself a harpsichord entrepreneur.
Hey, stop it.
That's so good.
All right, yeah, so that's all I had for those ones. I wish if I had more time, I could have thought of some more, but okay.
That was fun.
And now the last one I want to do is I'm stealing this from a board game podcast, but we're doing higher or lower.
Okay.
Okay.
And I know this might also be maybe in favor of Nick since he's been on more episodes, but I don't know. Maybe Moose can guess his way through it. So I'm gonna give you a movie. We have all of the movies on our list compiled into a letterbox list, ranked by like their rating.
Okay.
On that we gave them on here. So I'm gonna present. We're gonna have a seed movie, and then we're just gonna take turns. So we'll start with Moose. And I'm gonna ask you. So our seed movie is Barking Dogs Never Bite.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm gonna say a movie like The Philadelphia Story. So hey, I'm doing these totally random. I'm doing a random number generator. So at least the ones you were on. So we're starting with Barking Dogs Never Bite. Is The Philadelphia Story higher or lower on
Easy.
our list?
Easy. GG.
Really?
LMAO. Yeah.
Easy. Well, you're right.
I think
it is higher.
Travis did not like Barking Dogs.
No, he also didn't like Philadelphia Story.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that was a wild ass guess, TJ.
Oh. Well,
I would have said higher.
Confidence.
You exude the confidence of Ed Wood, so.
Yes, that's what I'm channeling right now. Is Johnny Depp's Ed Wood.
Okay. Nick. Is Carnival of Souls higher or lower than The Philadelphia Story?
That's tough because Carnival of Souls was a 2-person. That was you and I, and Philadelphia Story is 4. So
I think I factor the score on Letterboxd. By the way, I factor anyone who's on the episode. So not just like if we have a guest, I'll factor them into the average, and
Yeah.
Which we didn't in either of those. I'm just saying.
So the question is: Carnival of Souls higher or lower than Philadelphia?
Or lower? Yep. And we know higher means like a higher number rating. We got that,
like
right?
like total like aggregate.
Yeah.
Average.
I would say, I think lower than Philadelphia Story.
I think Carnival of Souls is lower.
Yes.
You're wrong. It is higher. It's
really
51.
Yeah, Travis wasn't on that episode.
Yeah, there you go.
True. Yeah. No negative Nancy's on that one.
It's Carnival of Souls is 51. And I guess I'll give at least on Letterboxd it has a 7 out of 10, which doesn't say much because I think a lot of
like the letterbox scores for ours is 7.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Moose, the next movie. I'm doing a random number generator, I promise. The next movie is Amadeus.
Oh, somebody gave that a 10, I think. So that's going to be higher.
I think a lot of us gave that a 10. I think I gave it a 9.
It is. It's number 8. So yeah, it's higher. Yeah, you and me both gave it a 10. Moose. All right. Nick.
Yes.
Let's even it out a little bit. Is Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance higher or lower than Amadeus?
I'm gonna go ahead and say lower, Bob.
Yeah.
Lower, Bob.
It's lower. Yeah.
Dude, if Amadeus is like top 8, that's like there's 7 movies you can get that you think could be higher.
Yeah. Probably Ghost Rider is not one of them.
No.
Yeah, that's number 71.
That was like a dud moved to the normal cup.
Yep. So yeah, Ghost Rider is 71. Next one, Moose, is The Matrix Reloaded.
Ooh. Was I on that episode?
No.
Are you asking? Oh, sorry. Are you asking if Matrix Reloaded is higher than Amadeus?
No, higher or lower than Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Okay, I see.
I'm going to say higher than Ghost Rider.
It's not. It's lower.
It was even lower than...
77.
That's funny to me.
All right.
Nick.
Yes.
Is Vertigo higher or lower than The Matrix Reloaded?
Because I think if I remember correctly, I think Travis was not a fan of Vertigo. I think you were mid on it, and I think I liked it a little bit more. But I think overall, no, because you liked Matrix. I think you liked the third Matrix movie. I want to say... It feels like a cardinal sin to say that Vertigo is lower than The Matrix Reloaded. Like, that just seems wrong. I think Vertigo is lower than Matrix Reloaded.
It is lower. It's
wow.
one lower than the Matrix
Holy
Reloaded.
shit. All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
Moose, is Get Out higher than Vertigo? Higher or lower?
Oh,
than
higher.
Vertigo?
Easy.
Yeah, it's higher.
That was actually a good movie.
I mean...
Is it higher?
Oh, yeah, sorry, it is. Yes, it is.
Nice. All right.
Same. Most people would say that Vertigo is a better movie, but... oh, this is funny. Nick, is High and Low higher or lower?
Oh.
Higher.
Than Get Out.
Higher. Got it.
Yeah, it's higher. It's number 15.
That was a James episode, I think, right? Or was it James and Charlie?
I think James and Charlie, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was number 15. Moose, is Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl higher or lower?
I'm going to have to say higher.
That that was like almost 10s across the board.
It is higher, yep. It's number 12. I think that was just 2. I think that was just you and Travis that gave it a 10.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay, then we'll do a couple more and then wind it down, I guess.
Okay. This episode is entering like Joe Rogan episode lengths. We're gonna be hitting that 3-hour mark.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nick, is Tremors higher or lower than Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh, that's hard. Because there's more people on Pirates of the Caribbean, but I feel like... Is Tremors higher than Pirates of the Caribbean? I'm going to say higher.
Yep, it's higher.
Really?
Whoa! Tremors is good. Tremors is really good.
Yeah, Pirates is 12. Tremors is number 9.
Great.
Nice. All right.
Okay, we got higher and lower, or high and low again. That's weird.
All right. Moose. Is everything is illuminated higher or lower than Tremors?
Than Tremors?
Yeah.
It's lower.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, it's lower.
That's almost unfair to Nick.
Okay, I'll do one more for each of you. I just think this is really fun, so I could. Keep
I do
going.
like this game.
This is fun.
All right, Nick, is Eraserhead higher or lower than Everything is Illuminated at number 38?
There was like 5 people on that episode.
Yeah.
I think 3 of us gave it a 10. So I think Eraserhead is higher.
It is not considerably higher. It's at 29.
Really? I gave it a very low score.
You did not like
I
Eraserhead.
hated Eraserhead.
I think you gave it a 3. Yeah.
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 That's right.
And then I gave it like a 7 or 8 or something.
I think Travis Dagan and I gave it a 10.
Yeah. Moose.
Wow.
Is Chungking Express higher or lower than the one that I just said?
Eraserhead.
Eraserhead.
I don't think it got any 10s, so I'm gonna say lower.
Yeah, it's lower. Yeah.
That was Travis did not like Chungking Express.
Nope. All right. Call it there.
Great.
Nice.
Good teamwork, everyone.
So, yeah, Nick pulled away with that one. 15 Moose, 17 to Nick. So it was a close game.
Oh, it was close.
It was close.
Yeah.
It
was close. I was wanting to play higher and lower until you guys tied and then just call it there. But I was like, I don't know. We might be playing for, I don't know. Because I'd have to get,
we
like,
could have kept going.
Nick would have to miss 2 or, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. So, there we go.
Wow. Congratulations.
We did it. Episode 100.
100.
Here's
in
to,
the can.
Here's to 100 episodes and
cheers.
5 or 6 more to go.
I don't know if I've ever done
5 or
100
6.
of anything.
Jeez.
Woo. Cool.
Yeah, I don't. Man, 100 is a big number.
It is weird.
There's a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But I think what the people really want to know is what movie's next week.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
How do you top
Very good
episode
transition.
100?
We should do that trivia games again though. That was kind of fun.
That is fun.
Try to think of more like varied ones like that too.
I like the moosification of movie titles.
Yeah, I want to try
the
to think of more
Pennsylvania
stuff
newspaper
like that.
is one of my favorite things that I've ever heard.
There's a couple of them that I didn't get written down too, that I wish I had, but yeah, yeah, I'll listen to that board game podcast a little bit more to get maybe I'll get some more ideas for stuff to do too.
Yeah, to plagiarize.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna do something a little more recent on next episode.
All right. Oh yeah.
From 2016, directed by Shane Black, we're gonna watch The Nice Guys, baby.
The Nice Guys.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's probably gonna. I know what that score is gonna be for me. Moose, you haven't seen The Nice Guys?
I have not.
Oh.
Starring Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling.
It's oh man. I think you are in for a treat.
Oh, can't wait.
Hell yeah.
Looking forward.
I've seen I've seen this movie a couple times in the last year or so.
Yeah.
But I will watch it again.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Nice, guys. If you don't want to be spoiled for that before next week's episode, watch it. It's on Netflix, and you can also rent it on Amazon Prime, YouTube, Google Play, Apple TV, a lot of stuff. So watch it at one of those. If you don't want to be spoiled for next week's episode. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on YouTube and Twitch in video form, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So give us a follow, like there if you like. Give us a rating. Apparently we have gotten a couple ratings.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a rating. We got a couple ratings. I want to get us above like 4.2 because some dipshit rated us 1 on Apple Podcasts and didn't leave a review like a coward.
Like a coward. What about our viewers on? What about our listeners on Podbean? What should they do?
Podbean? Do we still have Podbean?
Are we on Podbean?
Podbean.
We're on all the platforms.
You can send us a fax, and we'll send you a transcript of the episode.
Perfect. Let's do that.
All right. And with all that said, I don't. Do I want to do the? Well, I'm just a transvestite. TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always.
As always, I am the green dragon that sits on your doorstep. I eat little boys' puppy dog tails and big fat snails. Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me, as always.
As always, I'm your actual trans person, Tommy, aka Moose, from the game.
Just
Beware.
Just finished my last drink.
Beware.
Congratulations, DJ.
Just on time. Perfect. Cut it.
Take care.
Cut it. Print it.
That was perfect.
And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future.